And now, let's get into it.
Yeah, this ain't your regular panel. Nah, we speak the truth. Late nights with Santana and Mama Jones watching. Better keep it clean. Let's go. Late nights, truth in the convo. Everybody get a seat at the table. From the block to the books, we mindful. No screaming, just dreams in the Bible. One mic, one voice, we build bridges from the heart of the hood to the world's big issues. Politics, pay, different cultures, but the real ones listen before they rebuttal. Late nights with Santana. Yeah, Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot, but we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Yeah, late nights with Santana. You already know. Late nights with Santana. Late nights, no static.
What's going on, beautiful people?
Just the soul's reflection.
What's happening? Can you guys hear me okay?
Connection. From streetwise truths to deep reflections, we turn hard talks into blessings. They say they run a game, we build new rules. We here to heal, uplift, and break the old rules. They kept us boxed in, divided by fear, but you found us lined up when the truth appears. Yeah, weekly topics, hearts wide open, no judgment, just motion. Real ones are talking, no cussing. Cause Mama Jones
I hope everyone's doing absolutely amazing this evening.
Yeah. Late nights with Santana. You already know. Late nights with Santana. Already know. Late nights with Santana. Late nights, no static. Yeah, Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about
I guess let me break it down a little bit. Apparently it's loud.
When it might get hot, but we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots.
The lag is bad.
Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot, but we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Weekly topics.
I think we're good now. I think we're good now. Are we good now? We're good now.
Real ones
all right, guys, if you don't mind, tap the screen, share the live. Let's go ahead and get the lights up. Let's go ahead and get the lights up to 8,000 likes. As soon as we go ahead and get the lights up to 8,000 likes, I will open up the panel, guys. This is Late Nights with Santana. Yes, a panel discussion. This is open for everyone. Everyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome. What in the world? I think we're good. Studio is tripping. Studio is absolutely tripping. I know I see it. Studio is absolutely tripping. I apologize, guys. I apologize. Studio is absolutely tripping. Anyway, guys, keep tapping the screen. Share the live. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 8,000 likes. As soon as we get the likes up to 8,000 likes, I will go ahead and open up the panel. I will go ahead and open up the panel at 8,000 likes. But in the meantime, in between times, if you guys don't mind, keep tapping the screen. Got an idea? How's everybody been doing? Did everyone have a wonderful, happy Monday? Did everyone have a happy Monday? Tap the screen, guys. Also, guys, I think I have the gift goal set. All right, let's see. Boom. Send your daily heart me. It's only one coin. It will help push the live out to the FYP. I'm going to reset the daily gift goal. I didn't know what I had it set to. I'm going to keep resetting the daily gift goal to these little 1-cent goals. If you don't mind, if you could knock those out a couple of times, it will help push us out to the FYP. So boom, there we go. And let's pin it. There we go. I got an idea to help fix the lag. Let's do some IT on the fly. Again, guys, if you are interested in joining the panel, go ahead and request up again as soon as we get up to 8,000 likes. Oh, we knocked out the hearts. That's what I'm talking about. So we're going to reset this again. Guys, if you don't mind, keep tapping the screen. Guys, we are back at it and really in full bloom once again, back into our conversation around intersectionality. Intersectionality is the conversation. So if you are interested in actually joining the conversation, go ahead and request up again. This is Late Nights with Santana. This is a panel discussion where all are welcome. All are welcome. You do not have to be on a quote unquote side. As long as you are ready to actually join the conversation, go ahead and request up. I will get you in here in just a moment. Got to do a little bit of IT on the fly. IT on the fly. Got to do a little bit of IT on the fly. And again, as soon as we hit 8,000 likes, we'll go ahead and open up the panel. Darn it. Ooh. Okay. I think we're just going to have to watch the lag and make sure, because I can't set this up right here, right now without. All right, forget it. We're good. All right, guys, I think we are, boom, there we are. So I'm going to go ahead and start bringing people in on the conversation. Again, if you are interested in joining the conversation around intersectionality, go ahead and request up. Let me fix the panel layout first. Change layout. I'm going to go grid. Okay. So we'll do this, and then let's see here. There we go. We're good. All right, I'm going to start bringing people in. Again, if you are interested in joining the panel, go ahead and request up. We're going to go ahead and get the conversation rolling. Guys, as you get onto the panel, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. And we're going to go ahead and get the conversation started here in just a few moments. Again, guys, this is Late Nights with Santana, and we are going to talk about intersectionality. And there's multiple points around intersectionality that we have to get into. We absolutely have to get into. So again, if you are interested in joining the panel, go ahead and do so. I'm going to keep resetting the gift goal to the little 1 cent goal. Also, guys, we only got 8 shares. If you don't mind, let's share the live out, but don't spam share, because spam sharing will hurt the live. Let's only just go ahead and send it out to a couple of people, just a couple of people. If everyone can share it out maybe once or twice or whatever, you know, that would be super helpful, right? But don't spam share. We don't want to spam share. That'll hurt the live. But keep tapping the screen, do all the wonderful things, and let's get the people in here so we can get the conversation going. Let's see here. Let's reset this one more time, and we're going to keep everything moving. We're going to keep it moving. I'm going to go around the panel and do a quick introduction to the people on the panel, and then we will continue to actually get into our topic for the night. I'm going to do the ice cream cones. There we go. The gift goal is the ice cream cones. If we can knock that out a couple of times, like we'll get going. All right. Perfect. Starting at the top. KGR, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, sweetheart?
Wonderful. KGR. So we have, for the last couple of weeks, it was a little stagnant last week. A couple of issues when it came to the old technology and all this other stuff, but we are back at it. KGR, what topic on the background piqued your interest and made you want to actually join the conversation tonight?
So it's 2. So the ableism access and then the colonizing intersectionality.
Ooh, okay. Those are really good topics. I'm excited about speaking about both of those. Perfect. Give me 1 second here. Weird Gecko.
Black, 41, she, her, super lib.
I know that's right. Perfect. Give me a second here. Weird Gecko guy, how are you?
I'm good, sweetheart. How are you?
Good. Hey, question for you, because I know you've been hanging out with us and you've been all into the different conversations that we have. So I know you're going to have something good for us. Which topic on the background are you most excited to talk about?
I'm not gonna lie, I just like talking to you and other people that have very different worldviews and experiences than I do, and like we all learn from each other. I'm just in for a good learning time.
You know what? That's the one thing that I will say about this as a total, right? Because I know even though I bring these conversations to the forefront, I still end up learning a lot, and I completely agree. Like being able to talk to people with different worldviews and different lived experiences, like it is absolutely amazing. Perfect. All right, let's see here. Megan, how are you?
I'm good, love. How are you?
Wonderful. Megan, I know you've been here as well. Megan, what are you excited about to talk about as far as the topics on the background?
Tonight, specifically, speaking up versus speaking over.
That is a good one. That absolutely is a good one. Perfect. Give me 1 second here. And last but not least, Jillian, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Wonderful. Jillian, again, you have been someone. Jillian, not only do I know that you watch the lives, but when you miss the lives, I know you watch them back on the old YouTubes. So I know you've been completely locked in with us.
Yes,
Jillian,
I do.
exactly. Jillian, what topic are you excited about speaking about that's on the background for this evening?
Well, honestly, that weird gecko guy stole the words right out of my mouth. I don't know if there's anything specific. I guess proximity and tokenizing. I like to learn a lot about that. But yeah, kind of everything.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get into it then. If you are interested in joining the panel, go ahead and request up. We'll get you in. If you're interested in adding to the conversation, oh, we got someone else who's gonna jump in here and add to the conversation. Let's see here. Amy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. Amy, what are you excited about, or what drew you to joining the conversation on the panel this evening?
Well, partly ableism and mostly, I guess, the proximity and tokenization.
Okay. Perfect. Well, we're going to go ahead and get into it. Guys, before we get started, just a couple of quick reminders. For the people on the chat and for the people on the chat, please be mindful. Please use TikTok friendly language. What does that mean? That means using words like pew pew, unalive, mustache man, C19. That also means you being aware that we are a safe and friendly community. That means that we don't deal with any of the isms, racism, sexism, classism. We also don't do any of the phobias, homophobia, transphobia, none of that. We don't play that on the panel nor in the chat. Speaking of the chat, please be mindful. Caps are for mods. Caps will pull my attention away from the conversation that we're having on the panel, and it will draw my attention to the chat, and we want to make sure that we're able to have these conversations. So guys, please do not use caps. Last but not least, guys, we do have a nightly donation goal right above my head of $250. If you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. And you guys can make that donation right now through Venmo and Cash App. PayPal is acting a little bit funky, working on that, getting it done. So if you try to send me a PayPal, it probably won't send unless you have already sent one before. So just an FYI, if you try to utilize that Santana Speaks 24 as of right now with PayPal, it is acting a little funky. I'm waiting for PayPal to actually fix that. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into it. We're going to get into it, and we're going to go ahead and start this conversation. I want to start with KGR. KGR, I want to start with you. So I know there's multiple topics on the background, and you're definitely interested in getting into a couple of them, but specifically, I'm going to actually throw a curveball at you. So KGR, as a Black woman, right, and understanding intersectionality and where you fall in this whole patriarchal system, you are someone that has to deal with the actual realities and issues as far as, not only the United States, but the world and how you are viewed. And anytime that marginalized people are in a set position, they always want advocates, right? They want someone who is going to actually speak up for them while not speaking over them. KGR, can you tell me if there's someone who's looking to actually speak up for you, what does that look like, and how should they ensure that they're speaking up for you and not speaking over you?
Okay, so full disclosure, I do this thing called person-centered training coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So the person-centered approach is where you highlight the voices of the people who are most impacted by a policy.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn to step back and acknowledge their humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that works is that if I wanted an advocate, that person would need to be within close proximity to the community I live in.
Mm-hmm.
Would be able to speak on the experience in a way that would be beneficial and would know when to shut their mouths
Mm.
and let me speak for myself. When I do this, because I do work with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, that's why
Mm-hmm.
ableism bothers me so much.
Mm.
Oftentimes, we have a lot of people who claim to be advocates who don't allow the individuals to speak for themselves, who think they know better.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes that means shutting your mouth
So
and
let
making
me,
sure everybody else is quiet so they can speak.
let me ask you a quick question because I'm glad you gave me that bit of a backdrop, and I think that a lot of people struggle with ableism, right? And not only
Mm-hmm.
struggle with ableism in the sense of like really getting the approach as far as ensuring that you aren't, actively being harmful to the community or anything like that, but also a lot of people struggle with the approach as far as understanding like certain things that are considered ableism and they don't understand why, right? So I'll give you an example. I've been having a conversation with a couple of different people, and there's a couple of words that's just like in our normal vernacular, or at least it's been a part of our normal vernacular, and not even talking about words that people would automatically think of like the R slur, right? But just like DUMB, right? Or certain words that would actually trigger or be offensive to people that's a part of, the disabled community. Why
No.
is
So this is what I'm going to tell you because a lot of the individuals that I work with despise people saying that you can't call someone dumb. Okay. Now, because there are people who are literally dumb, and these are not people who have a disability. These are what we like to call normies.
mm,
Y'all normies are the problem. And I say that as someone who's like, ugh, because I have far more empathy and grace for people who are part of the disabilities community than I do for anyone who is born completely able-bodied and able in their mentality. Because
mm,
I watch the people I support fight every day to just have a smidgen. So you, with all of your care, all of your faculties, have no excuse. Because if I see someone who has fought to just be able to get a job, you and all of your abilities don't have you don't get to sit there, oh, well, it's so, no. Imagine people automatically treating you as a child. Imagine being told you're not allowed to date.
mm.
Imagine being told you're not allowed to make a decision for yourself. And yet you still fight to get something you want. And yet you have people who don't have any of these barriers to them being able to access these things.
Mm-hmm.
Complaining and whining. I have an issue with that. And I know that that sounds assy, but
Mm-hmm.
that is the fact because I've seen individuals I support who have done such amazing things
Mm-hmm.
and they don't make excuses.
Mm.
They're going to go after what they want.
So
It's
I
you
guess this
people
is
around
this is
them
the
that,
part that I kind of struggle with hearing that, right? And pardon my ignorance and where I stand, but just from every interaction that I've had, right, and just understanding certain things, right, and even more so, I think it's easy to point out like the big words that we know, right, but I've spoken with people that is a part of, or people that are part of the disabled community, and they specifically say, "Oh, like no, you shouldn't be saying those words," right? So I guess trying to really understand, and even like the certain information I found, it says the same thing. I guess where's the line, or like how does that work? Because I'm a little bit confused because again, everything that not only that I've actually did research on, or spoken to like other trained professionals, I've gotten the pushback and saying like, hey, you shouldn't say those words because they're dehumanizing, and so help me understand that point.
in general, they're dehumanizing in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's the problem Ableism is determining that these words only hurt this group of people, as opposed to looking at it from the perspective of these words hurt. Full stop. So when you hear a certain community state, I don't like this word because it is harmful, it's not just harmful to them, it's harmful in general. So there's a difference in between the two, because it's like the N word is specifically harmful to Black people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But using that word is harmful in general as well, because it's dehumanization. So I understand the two things, but I have individuals who don't feel the same way. My thing is, I shut the F up and I let them determine which words are okay for them.
Okay,
And
give me
that's
one
the
sec.
difference. It's
Give me 1 second. I think some people are saying that it's freezing, but I'm looking at the screen on TikTok and YouTube and Twitch, and right now it doesn't look like I'm freezing. So it may be certain people's phones. I want to go to Megan because I know Megan is a part of that community, and I would actually love to get her perspective on that. I think Megan, you had your hand up in the chat. Is that correct?
Yeah, I can speak on this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I saw your hand in the chat. That's why I came to you.
Oh, I didn't have my hand up, but I don't mind speaking on it.
Okay. Can you kind of, I guess, help me with the perspective? Because I mean, I completely understand the point that KGR is making, and it makes me think about a couple of different things. And Jessica, I'm going to come to you next as well. But Megan, you first, please.
Personally, I do think that a lot of those terms are harmful, and they're especially harmful, in my opinion. I think one of the most harmful things is like able-bodied people that already don't understand like the privileges that they're experiencing just day to day in comparison to everybody else. But on top of that, them then also using those terms just in their day to day is like extremely harmful. Like not understanding privilege as someone who not only doesn't understand your privilege, but then is also using those words just like as if they're words that you can just say with your buddies and all of those things. I think is probably the two most harmful things. People who don't understand and just think that it's something that you just use with your friends and just say all the time, whenever.
Okay. Thank you. Jessica, coming to you. What would you like to add?
Hey, so I guess the question I want to ask is that as somebody who's deaf or hard of hearing, do you guys know kind of what that word is surrounded by as far as like ableists and stuff like that with the deaf community?
Isn't that where you can't speak, right? Am I incorrect? It's about not being able to speak.
Not necessarily. So I actually didn't know this as a hard of hearing person myself until I heard another deaf creator talk about it, because people were using it as a derogatory term against another late deaf individual. And so people would use it derogatory by saying the words deaf and dumb.
Yeah.
And apparently, Aristotle had learned it. He's the medieval English era, the Greek philosopher Aristotle. He had actually said it. That specific derogatory terminology was because he felt that deaf people were incapable of being taught or learning of reasoned thinking or rational thinking. So it depends on the person that you talk to that's a part of the deaf community or a part of the disabled community, excuse me. But it can still be extremely harmful. So those type of terms at least in my opinion, being a part of the disabled community myself, it's just something to try to steer clear from or to double check before using.
Yeah, yeah, and so that was the information that I had as well, just the understanding as far as how it was related to a connotation of people who were labeled as, you know, less intelligent or less than because they had some type of disability. And to your point, Jessica, it was quote unquote deaf and dumb, which, you know, the actual inability to speak or, you know, have a speech impediment. And they connected that with the ability to comprehend, which of course doesn't have anything to do. But I think even more than that, I think it's a really good conversation because there's a lot around people who tend to I guess kind of jump into saying like, oh, this is offensive, this is offensive, this is not offensive. And I think it goes back to the entire point that I was starting at, or where we were going with the speaking up versus speaking over. And I guess, Jessica, I'm gonna give this to you, and then I'm gonna pass it around the panel a little bit more, just to like flush this out and to get into it even more. But should the people who actually are part of the community be arbiters of what is harmful, and understanding though, like, you know, this community is not a monolith. Like, how do you make a decision as far as saying like, yeah, this is harmful, like without, I guess, you know, you can't ask every black person like, hey, is this word offensive to you? Like, how do we go about that? What are your thoughts?
To be perfectly honest, just like with the black community, just double checking to make sure that it isn't harmful, or if you accidentally say it, letting them know that, hey, this wasn't the way it was intended to come across. I'm sorry if it did come across that way. I
Mm-hmm.
know a few weeks ago you talked about intention, impact over intention, which
Oh
kind of
yeah.
goes along with this.
Oh yeah.
Um, but just making sure that what you're saying isn't taken the wrong way, because words can be harmful, but they can also be misconstrued and misunderstood in so many different
Mm.
ways.
Okay. Okay.
And I mean, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Megan, I want to come back to you, and then KGR, I want to come back to you. Kind of like, you know, we came down, then come back up around, because I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Should the affected people of the community be the ones leading as far as determining like what is or is not harmful, and how do we be aware of those things if, you know, the community is not a monolith?
Um, I think that especially in I'm so sorry, I just got a
You're good.
notification. Especially in the like disability, I think isn't as straightforward as it kind of can be in different communities throughout intersectionality.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you have to take a lot of things into consideration, and you have to be aware of, like, when you're saying things, um, kind of noticing the body language and the way that the impact of what you've said is affecting the person that you're speaking to, because there are so many different disabilities and so many things that a disabled person is affected by with their disability and isn't, and there's no two people that are the same. And I think that at the end of the day, sometimes the things that would be harmful to me or that I would take personally aren't going to be the same that somebody else would take personally. And you might be able to say one thing to me and it not harm me as much as it may harm somebody else, which doesn't mean that, like, it wasn't wrong. It just may not be something that I inherently like picked up on or even just like felt as much harm from. And so I think, yeah, in the disabled community, you kind of have to let that person who's disabled guide you in what definitely like is offensive to them and how you should and shouldn't be speaking to them. I think it is based just from case to case different.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you. KGR, coming back to you because, you are someone that not only deals with this on a everyday basis, but, you're a trained professional. Because like you shared something with me that I wasn't aware of, or a perspective that I didn't even have. And that's, someone who's trying to be, cautious and respectful and things like that. And you brought a perspective that I don't even think about. So how can, just like other people who, to your point that you were saying earlier, who, may not be trying to intentionally do anything, like what practices or tips or can you give people who are trying to do best as far as making sure they're respecting different marginalized communities, such as the disabled community, without offending them or doing something along those lines? Like what advice could you give us?
Ask.
Mm.
Ask the question. Ask. It's there's a person, I just came back, like we just had the gathering for person-centered people, and an individual who's giving a speech, he talked about, don't hold my arm.
Mm.
It was a whole entire talk about how his mother consistently tried to grab his arm to cross the street.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't want her touching him.
Mm.
He wanted to be able to cross the street independently.
Mm.
So instead of making the assumption of taking the role of, oh, I have to do this, shut your mouth and ask the question. Say, are you comfortable with this? How would you like me to treat you?
Yeah.
Because it's not do unto others as you would have those do it. No, it's actually do unto others as they ask you to do unto them. Treat people how they want to be treated versus how you would want to, because we're not the same. Ask the question. Before I go in to meet with individuals, I sit there, and when I meet with them beforehand, before we have meetings and stuff, I ask the question, how would you like me to advocate for you? How would you like me to set this up? Are you comfortable with this person speaking for you, or do you need me to stop them from speaking so you can speak? How do you need me to act? And I will shut my mouth. I am not a person who's disabled. Therefore, my perspective is not valid in this situation. I need you tell me how you want me to act, and that is how I act. So that is the thing I think we all have. Oftentimes we dismiss the disabled community. Like if you have someone who is visually impaired, do not effing touch them, okay? And I say this, let them grab your arm, you don't touch them. Because that is so, it disjoints them from what I've been told by people who are visually impaired.
Mm-hmm.
When someone who is hard of hearing or is deaf, you do the thing of making sure you're looking directly at them when you speak. Mm-hmm. As opposed to trying to look to someone else to interpret for you. You look directly at them and ask, am I speaking too fast? Are you able to get that? Or do I need an interpreter?
Because that makes perfect sense.
It is inappropriate for you to, oh, well, let me look at you and talk to you and talk. No, I'm having the conversation with you, so you need to be able to see my mouth.
Yeah.
So it's all about asking the individual how they want to be treated.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Listen, that's a great point. I think that's a great thing to actually hammer home, right? And I know I think a lot about like how as someone who tries to pride himself on being an advocate for other marginalized groups, I always say, it's my job to amplify their voices. And I think you like completely knocked it out of the park in the sense that if you don't ask the question, then you can't actually do the thing. So great point. All right. I want to keep moving around the panel, and I want to actually jump to a couple of people that have not had the opportunity to actually join the conversation. But before we do, just want to remind everybody, if we could keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 50,000 likes. If we could, let's get the shares up to 100 shares. There's 282 people hanging out. Let's not spam share. But if everyone could share the live out maybe once or twice, it will help push the live out to the FYP. If you have not sent your daily heart me, go ahead and send it. It's only 1 coin. If you look up at the top and you see the heart is gray, go ahead and send your daily heart me. It's only 1 coin. Also, if you look up at the top and it says the word follow, that means you're not following me. Go ahead and follow me. Go ahead and follow me. Turn on your notifications so you know when I go live. Do all the wonderful things. Last but not least, we do have a nightly donation goal of $250. So if you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, if you would like to actually support the live, please consider doing so. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. Cash App and Venmo. PayPal is acting a little funky right now. But if you're over on YouTube and you would like to support the live, what up, YouTube? What up, Twitch? If you're over on YouTube and you would like to support the live, you can do so with a YouTube super chat, and I will go ahead and read that message out. But make sure you're liking the stream. That'll help push the stream out as well. So make sure you're liking the stream. We just finally made over 5,000 subscribers over on YouTube. So that's awesome. All right, Jillian, I want to come to you. Jillian, I want to come to you because I kind of want to switch it just a little bit, right? And I want to come to you as far as the colonization of intersectionality, right? And more so with the colonization of intersectionality, we know for a fact that there are actual marginalized groups. I mean, like KGR, Megan, and Jessica just spoke to like a marginalized group that is so vast within, you know, the world scope, right? When you talk about the disabled community, because disabilities come in many different shapes, forms, and it doesn't care if you're black or white or if you're indigenous or whatever. Like it's across the board. So there is a wide swath of people that can be impacted as far as being. Sure. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, Jillian. Yeah, Jessica, I saw you had your hand up. Let me come back to you for half a second. You wanted to add something, and then I'll come back to Jillian.
Sorry, were you waiting on me, Santana?
Yeah, you had your hand up. And you wanted to add something.
Yeah. So KGR, you're perfectly fine, and I understand that you work with a lot of people and everything like that. I just wanted to say that there is a lot of like deaf and hard of hearing people that cannot read lips, and most of the time, reading lips is roughly only about 30% accuracy, and the rest of it is just guess.
Yeah, and that's why I try to get people to learn some sign before you work with a client. Like I really do ask people to go on YouTube, try to learn some signs or write it down.
Yeah, and again, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. My bad.
This is your time. You go.
And again, I just wanted to let you know as well. I mean, not every single deaf or hard of hearing person is going to know how to sign either. Like myself, I grew up in a completely hearing family. I was pretty much the only person that was hard of hearing in my school. I've had hearing aids since I was like 3 or 4 years old. I've always been oral. So up until I went to like a deaf or hard of hearing camp, I never learned any sign, and even then it would be very little and it would be limited. So, and I appreciate you asking and stuff like that. No, you didn't overstep. I just wanted to kind of bring that to y'all's attention because I don't know if everybody in the live knows that about lip reading as well. On that, as well as like a lot of the statistics as far as deaf and hard of hearing people. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of that that's a good thing to have, but it's not always a guaranteed or a banking on.
Absolutely.
And like I did have a client who had visual impairment along with deafness, so he couldn't see signing. So we started doing like texting to like, it was like texting to voice. It was like insane, the tech that we got for him. But it was so like disheartening that people didn't learn. And then one of my coworkers, she was born deaf. Her family didn't figure it out until she was like 4. So by the time they figured out, then they were able to get her cochlear implants and everything so she could hear. But by that time, she learned how to parrot, and also her speech pattern was like based on what she saw. So she like had to relearn how to speak. So like that, I'm so sorry. Like that's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's alright. I completely understand. Again, that's just part of growing up. But anyway, Santana, you kind of wanted to move it along. I just wanted to make that known for the other people that were in the live if they didn't already know about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great call out. Thank you so much for that. All right. Yeah, Jillian, coming back to you and coming back to where we were and talking about the actual point of colonizing intersectionality. There are multiple people who experience different marginalizations, but there is kind of a shift where certain people who are not marginalized are starting to be told that they're marginalized, and they're specifically saying like, hey, like I'm a quote unquote victim, I am someone that's being targeted, and specifically I'm talking about like young white men, right? And there is a wave, I guess you can call it, within America today to actually make young white men feel like they are othered, that they are left out because they are not being quote unquote catered to in the same way that people that are black are, same way that people are part of the queer community are, same way that people are part of the disabled community, like all of those things. So I guess help me understand, why do you think that it's something that young white men specifically tend to lean into now more so than ever, as far as wanting or at least accepting the idea of being othered, because other marginalized communities are now receiving quote unquote special attention?
So, I think it is a combination of what I like to call brainwashing. Um, but also everybody has that need. Like, I think it's an innate human thing to like be different or be important or be popular or, you know, whatever it is, whatever age it is. And I think they grasp onto that because it's a way to be different, I guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
This is all guessing because
Mm-hmm.
I you know, obviously where I work, I'm surrounded by the type of people who say, you know, like, well, they have a whole month. Why do we just get a day? And crap like that. And it's like, well, because there's more need for awareness for
Mm.
marginalized groups, that, you know, like people don't need to be aware of white men. We all know about white men. They
Mm-hmm.
don't have a history of oppression. They're not oppressed right now. Um, but as far as like being convinced that they are oppressed right now, I think it's just a lot of brainwashing,
Okay.
misinformation that's out there. And
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think there's a bit of indoctrination that speaks to that, and how that actually works. We're Gecko Guy. I want to come to you. Understanding that, and the premise that Jillian is working off of, as far as, you know, quote unquote brainwashing. Um, do you think that's harmful, as far as you know, them taking a position that they are quote unquote marginalized? And if so, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so I obviously come at this from a very different angle, as an older white dude. But for those of you who haven't seen me on Santana's panel before, one of the things that I say all the time is you will never meet a broke conservative white person, because they're all brainwashed into thinking they're temporarily disenfranchised millionaires. And that has been part of the system of white supremacy for hundreds of years. Oh, well, you would succeed if it weren't for X, Y, and Z. And one of the things that I think we're really seeing come to a head right now is the system has gotten so bad, like the wealth inequality is so extreme that the majority of white men that aren't amounting to anything socially or economically is at an all-time high. And they have been taught their entire lives that it is somebody else's fault that they're not succeeding. You know what I mean? Like, and it's always blaming it on someone that is their peer in the working class. It's never that the ruling class has taken so much, we don't have money. It's always one of their peers. And I think when you couple that with two things, one, young men don't know how to be men, and there are all of these horrible scumbags selling them what being a man is, coupled with the fact that people, like, for the first time, there's enough social equity for people that aren't white to make fun of white people. That's like a powder keg to convince someone that doesn't know how the world works yet to believe that they are marginalized. You know, like, if somebody says something bad about white men, if it don't apply, I let it fly. You're not talking about me. You know what I mean? You are not talking about me. Like the other night on a live, someone brought up like how like saying slurs would get you canceled. And I'm like, I've said every slur I've ever wanted to say in my entire life, which is none. Like, I've said it every time I've wanted to say it, which is none, you know? So I don't get offended by that. But they're inside, they're not doing social things, they're online, and there are lots of people saying, oh, well, you know, we're the only people that can be made fun of. Yes, because punching down is lame and punching up is funny. And we're still at the top. Like, Chloe made a comment that said, making white men into a group with specific characteristics because we don't have a community. White people don't have community, period. But women get to have the community of being women, because men can't have the community of being men without having to say something screwed up like, no homo, but you look real nice tonight, Santana. like it is like masculinity has always. I mean, I was born in the 70s. I remember the very early 80s. Masculinity has always been this razor thin space that you can exist in, where your masculinity is being policed by other men around you. And I think, like, one of the things that I think that's collided with, this is a new point from what I've been saying, but I think this will bring it home. For hundreds of years, women needed men. So men didn't have to be good. And, like, you can talk to people and be like, oh, my grandparents were married for 50 years. Okay, well, how did your grandpa meet your grandma? Oh, well, he followed her home from school every day until her parent, like, oh, grandma, you were kidnapped. Like, you know, like, there's a lot of that. And my grandmother, like, this is how old I am. When my grandmother became a widow, her minor teenage son had to go to the bank and sign for her to be able to get a credit card. He was a junior in high school and signed for his mom to get a credit card. So for so long, the men that people have been looking up to as successful haven't been shit, but society was designed by them where they could get away with not being shit. You know what I mean? And, like, I never knew either of my grandparents, but I knew a lot of my friends' grandparents. My grandfathers. My grandfathers both passed before I was born. But I knew a lot of my friends' grandfathers, and they were trash. They were mean. They were rude. They didn't respect their wives. They didn't respect their kids. But they were successful economically and socially because they had a good job and a nice house and a boat and a wife and 2 kids. So the people that everyone was looking up to forever were trash because everyone else in the family was miserable.
Okay.
You know? And,
yeah. So,
and I think that all of that kind of couples into why young men don't know how to be men anymore.
That's a really interesting point. Jillian, I want to come back to you. What do you think about that? Do you think that there is now a culture, a society where I'll take it a step further. Not that, young men don't know how to be young men anymore, but we now live in a society where the overall patriarchal system excuse me, is not as reliant on men as it were before, where, you know, being the breadwinner, being at the top, isn't as much of a, you know, quote unquote big deal as it was, where, you know, there used to be a time where men only made the money and men were the quote unquote leaders of the home and all this other stuff. Is it now that since there's a shift where, yeah, and Professor Mack just called it out, like more women are graduating college than men now at this point. Is it, since that is a situation where quote unquote men aren't needed, is that a reason why or do you think that's a reason why they're threatened and they are starting to lean into quote unquote being marginalized, or what do you think?
You know, I think that makes a lot of sense. I've heard so many guys like, and this kind of even goes with the proximity too, but you know, I don't hate women. Women, you know, like I don't have anything against women, but there's certain things that men should do and certain things that women should do. And I think that is that, like, whether it's intentional or not, that they don't feel like they're as needed as they think they should be. With the whole, you know, a lot of the right side movement of like, let's get back to the nuclear family, let's get back to the, you know, old family values, which always involves a man being at the top of the household.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to that, and even more so, I think there's so much to the fact that, fuck it, I'll say it, men, get a personality. Get not only get personality, like get something positive about yourself, because your wallet ain't gonna cut it anymore, right? The fact that you're a man, it's not gonna cut it anymore. And I think that a lot of those quote unquote you know, marginalized men. That's why, Jillian, have you heard the term misandry?
Oh yeah.
I love making fun of that. I purposefully misspell that word every time, and people are like, "Oh, that's not how you spell it," and I'm like, "Well, it's a made up word, and I'm gonna spell it how I want to spell it because it's not real." But there's a lot of people who now feel like, since they aren't the center of attention, that they can actually now just like throw around the fact that they are the ones that quote unquote oppressed, and that's a weird situation, at least on me.
Yeah. And I've also had a lot, because I'm single and a mom and have no interest in dating, and being in a bar, obviously, like getting hit on a lot. And the older men and sometimes even younger men are like, "Oh, you just need to find someone." I'm like, "I don't want to find someone." And they're like, "Oh, you'll feel different when you meet someone." I'm like, "I don't need that in my life. I'm about it." And they're like, "No, you need it." Like, you know, they still want it to be where a woman needs a man.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something. All right, perfect. So we're gonna keep it moving. I want to get around to the rest of the panel, but before I do, just an FYI to the chat, guys. I've been asking you to tap the screen. We're only at 44,000 likes, so this is what I'm gonna do. Like, you know what? We're gonna have to do the thing. We're gonna have to absolutely do the thing. All right. So why does it look like this? I hate this new layout of studio. Like, this is no bueno. I can't even see, where is it? Okay, hold on. Why is it? Oh, okay, I can do this. There we go. All right, here we go. Boom. Got that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go ahead and set a 10-minute timer, guys. We're gonna set a 10-minute timer to go ahead and get the likes up to 75,000 likes. If we're not at 75,000 likes within 10 minutes, then we're gonna go ahead and go to sub only. So guys, tap the screen. Go ahead and get the likes up to 75,000 likes. If you're not a subscriber, please go ahead and consider grabbing a subscription. Becoming a subscriber gives you access to an amazing Discord with a bunch of really great people. It gets you a fast pass to the panel during late nights with Santana. It gets you a 5-minute tag me in during sparring with Santana, and it also gets you a priority my question, where you get to come up and ask a question to your favorite creator with Brunch with My Creator, which Brunch with My Creator will be back this Sunday. Boom, I said it. And so if you are not a subscriber, you get access to a bunch of really cool stickers, Discord, all these other amazing features. So please, 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 if you're not a sub, consider subscribing. Tap the screen. We got 9 minutes to get up to 75,000 likes. Also, if you'd like to support the live, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, or not PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. We have $250 in our nightly donation goal. We got almost 400 people here. So if 250 people send a dollar donation, we can definitely close out our nightly donation goal. PayPal is acting a little bit funny, but Venmo and Cash App, you can definitely send that. Or if you're over on YouTube, you can send a YouTube super chat. With that being said, Amy, I want to come to you. Amy, I know we've talked
Yes.
about the ableism axis, and we've also talked about the colonization of intersectionality. But I want to come back to you and speak on speaking up versus speaking over. I would love to get your thoughts as far as like, where's the line of demarcation? What are your thoughts as far as if someone actually was to advocate for you, what would you want that to look like versus someone speaking over you?
Um, that's a good question. I am part of the. I'm not very good with my words, but I am an amputee.
Mm-hmm.
I so I'm in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually made a couple of videos recently, just kind of about ableism and about how touching like my wheelchair is kind of, part of my personal space, and doing things for me um, is not like, I forget what her name was on the top about asking. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, KGR is speaking to how to seek permission before trying to
um,
take any type of actual initiative. Absolutely.
yes, yes. I really like that because even in my apartment building, there's one lady that she'll take my garbage for me, and she'll take it from my hands, and I'm like, no, no, I've got this. And she's like, no, no, let me take it. And she'll just take it from my hands. And
Mm.
I mean, I know she's trying to help. But I'm like, I'm just missing a leg. Let's just call her Jane.
Hmm.
But it's like, I've still got two hands. I can still get to the garbage room.
Does that
So I don't know
ever
if that's
does
kind of what you're.
does that ever put you in a situation where like you're trying to have your independence, right? But more than that, um, the person not listening to you because they think they're doing something good, when you sit there and say, hey, no, I got it, and even with you saying I got it, they're still like, no, 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 I'm gonna do it. Like, do you think that that's just something where someone is like just completely disregarding you, and that's a sense of disrespect?
Um, yes, in a way, yes.
Okay,
Kind of like, yeah.
got it, got it. Megan, I see you have your hand up. You want to add something?
Yes, okay. This is something I feel very strongly about. Is throughout, like, especially as someone who's also in a wheelchair, It is so beyond frustrating when people like try to move you around in your wheelchair without asking, but
Does
also
that
when
really? Do people actually do
Yes.
that?
yeah, this is
Yes.
it's like very common. Like I mean like people will move me without even, and it's not even just like them trying to get by. People will just full on like move me like across a room and not even like say
Really?
anything, and not even say anything about them doing it at first, and like then act like when you say something back and it kind of can become like an altercation, um, that like you're the one who's being aggressive or you're the problem. And like it's so frustrating because like they treat you like you're a baby. And then I think that one thing that people, able-bodied people don't realize is like, I think that especially in the disabled community, it's like when we try to speak up for ourselves, sometimes people who are regularly like who are regularly abled, like they will not take what you're saying at like face value. Like they'll act like what you said may be less than what they could say. Like that if they spoke up for you, the things that they're saying because they're able bodied are like worth more than what you could say, basically.
That's like, wow. So I didn't know, which of course, pardon my ignorance. I'm, an able-bodied person, so I wouldn't, readily notice that. But that has to be in my opinion, just my opinion. That sounds dehumanizing because, like, that to me, the only thing that I can think of is like people are treating you like a piece of furniture, right? I don't think that you should be in this spot in the room, so I'm going to move you to this spot in the room for more convenience or whatever. Like, am I off base with that thinking?
No, you're not. They sometimes they will like prioritize their own comfort over yours. So like if I'm comfortably somewhere in a chair, but this able-bodied person thinks that like they would be more comfortable if I was over there, then they'll just move you even if that's not what you want. Or like things like that. Like they a lot of times will take it upon themselves to like do what they think is best, even if it's not best for you, even if you, and even when you try to verbalize that, they won't take what you want at face value.
That is wild. I hmm hmm. I, Jessica, I know you had your hand up, and I'm gonna come back to you. One last thing, and then Jessica, I'm gonna come to you. Megan, you said that people, I guess, like push back on you, like you're saying or doing something wrong. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. So something that I find very common is when um, someone tries to move you, for example, and you say something and they can come back snappy, then it kind of, and they come back snappy with you, then they kind of, I've had it to where people kind of get back at you and act like you are the one causing the problem, like because you won't just let them move you or you won't just let them help you, you're making it harder on yourself. Like it can cause literal altercations because they think that because you just won't let them help you or won't let them just do this for you or won't let them just do that. Why can't you just let them do this? Like why is it so hard to just let them do this for you? Like it gets turned into like you being the problem, and you get put in a position where this person is making it look like you are causing the problem, and sometimes can make you even feel crazy or like you're in the wrong because you just won't let them do something for you, as if like they owe us something, or like we owe it to them to let them help us. Like
That is
people
so
really get
wild.
upset and take it personally if you don't allow them to help you.
That is wow. I've never heard that. Jessica, I'm gonna come to you, but before I do, I want to say W's in the chat for the chat. W's in the chat for the chat. I see you guys. You guys made it to that 75K before the end of the 10 minutes. Listen, keep tapping the screen. Don't make me turn it back on. Keep tapping the screen. Don't make me turn it back on. Also, guys, I want to say massive, massive, massive W's in the chat for Terry. Terry sent a $10 donation towards the nightly donation goal and said, excellent conversation. Guys, W's in the chat for Terry. That means we only have $240 left in our nightly donation goal. So if you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything's accepted. Anything's appreciated. You can send through Cash App and Venmo. PayPal is down for right now unless you already have my PayPal saved. But you can send a Venmo, you can send a Cash App, and there is 240 people send $1. We can close it out. Or you can do like Didia did over on YouTube and send a YouTube super chat. She sent they sent a €2 YouTube super chat, said, how hard can it be not to touch people unasked? Listen, people have a hard time keeping their hands to themselves. It's a thing. It's weird. It's weird. People have a really hard time keeping their hands to themselves. So, but W's in the chat for the YouTube super chat. Guys, we can definitely go ahead and knock that out. Jessica, I'm coming to you, and then Nate and Drew, I want to come to you two to introduce you and get you in the conversation. But Jessica, the floor is yours.
Can I just add one quick thing?
Sure.
Yeah,
go ahead, Amy.
I just want to say it is okay to ask us if we need help. And if we need help, we'll say yes or no. But yes, it is okay to ask us if we do need help. But if we say no, just please respect that. If we say no, we don't need help.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Jessica.
Yeah, so just like what you guys were talking about people like in a way like gaslighting you into thinking that your experience wasn't the way it was, that actually happens quite a bit in the deaf and hard of hearing community as well. As well as me being visually impaired also. Like, I've literally had people ask me, are you deaf when I don't hear something? And it's like, yeah, I am. Same thing with like saying, are you blind? When I'm also visually impaired. Like as a kid, I also had people that would be like right next to me, and I would hear them talking about me or talking about something that I had said or did. And I would try to confront them, and they were like, "We didn't say anything. If you heard us, then what were we saying?" Oh, you can't say what we actually were saying, can you? Oh, you don't know what we were actually saying.
Wow.
Yeah. Or like the speaking up over speaking out. I have a friend of mine he's more deaf than I am. He actually has a cochlear and a hearing aid. And one of his exes literally going into the doctor's office or a veterinarian clinic to try to help his ex's cat. Literally without my friend actually saying anything, literally I told the doctor, oh, he's deaf, make sure you look at him. No.
Wow.
Yeah. Anybody in the disabled community usually has a pretty good idea of what they need, the accommodations that they need, how they need people to stand up for them. We're pretty good advocates on our own. A lot of the people in the disabled community are, but assuming that we need help, like Amy said, asking is definitely a good way to double check that, but assuming that we need help just based off of our disabilities, no.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
never the correct thing to do.
Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you for that, Jessica. I think that's such a great call out, and even more so, it brings a lot of awareness that I think a lot of people don't know about, and so it's something that I definitely want to make sure that we are addressing. All right, Nate, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Wonderful. Nate, what topic on the background piqued your interest the most and made you want to join the conversation?
I just came across them live. Would you mind to explain them to me?
Well, we're talking about intersectionality. Nate, question for you: what made you request up?
I do have some medical disabilities.
Okay, but what actually made you join the request?
It just caught my interest.
So, and I'm just trying to get a actual understanding. Nate, did you like pay attention to anything before you submit a request, or did you just like immediately request, or help me understand?
I paid attention. I paid attention.
Okay, I guess I'm just a little confused. Yeah, I see that, guys. I don't know what it is. It's not frozen everywhere. That's weird. It was just frozen for like half a second, but it wasn't frozen on YouTube. It wasn't frozen on all of TikTok. I don't know. I guess we're back. But Nate, I guess what I'm saying is, were you paying attention prior to requesting?
Yes.
Okay. So far, what have you gotten?
I have a very bad memory.
Okay. Nate, is this your first time in the live with late nights?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Nate. I'm gonna drop you down, and I'm gonna invite you to stay in the chat for a while and actually listen and learn. We are going into intersectionality, and not only are we going into intersectionality, but we've been building on this for over a couple of months, and so we want to be able to actually have these kind of flushed out conversation with some of the people who have been a part of these conversations and really know where we are. And if this is your first time joining our space in our community, feel free to hang out in the chat and actually learn a little bit more. And then once you're ready, you can definitely join the conversation, okay?
Okay. Thank you for
Perfect.
having me up, and I
Thank you,
support
Nate.
you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Drew, how are you?
I'm doing well, Santana. How are you?
Good. Drew, which topic on the background piqued your interest and made you want to join tonight?
I was just listening, and I didn't really have anything in particular, but the one that resonates with me most is probably colonizing intersectionality. Usually your lives are really political, and that term sort of, there's certain groups that are trivializing and minimizing people's feelings and then playing the victim. So I think that one resonates with my time
Sure.
in your lives. But yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? Tell me a little bit more about your perspective and where your thoughts are with that.
Well, intersectionality is basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, the way people think about stuff based on your race, your economic position, all sorts of things. So I think
That's
people
not right.
trying to play the victim. Nope. Oh, then educate me.
Drew, so I know I see you around, and I guess I've seen you watching the political lives, and so with late nights, yeah, we've been for the last couple of weeks, we've been digging into the aspect of intersectionality, and more so, intersectionality is about the different crosswalks that speak to the different points of marginalized communities. And you have the patriarchal system, where being a white male is at the top of the patriarchal system, and then you talk about the layers that comes below that and the different rankings within the patriarchal system. Black men, white women, and so on and so on. There's different subgroups. You could talk about the queer community. You can talk about the community of people with disabilities, things like that. But I guess I say all this to say, Have you heard any of our conversations around intersectionality?
Just this is my first intersectionality or ableism access live. I did hear the ladies speak on their experiences with their varying disabilities and how people treat them. It's just kind of crazy to me because obviously consent is sort of the first thing you do before touching anyone and moving anyone. So I'm just learning more about I'm learning more about their experiences, but it's not like it's complicated for me.
Right, and I guess the point that I'm trying to make with this is, even though one of the points is ableism. The live isn't about ableism. It's about different intersectionalities, which of course ableism is one of those intersectionalities. But even more so, kind of to the same thing that I just said to Nate, right? Understanding the need to be able to actually have these fully fleshed out conversations. I guess I'm trying to understand your perspective with joining the conversation. I guess even if you don't have a fully fleshed out understanding of what intersectionality is, I honestly, I don't see how we could have you really join the conversation at this moment.
No, I understand completely. There was something someone said and I latched on to that. But no, I'm not educated enough to really partake in this, and I certainly don't want to, tokenize and look for, so yeah, thanks for having me up, and I'll keep listening.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming up. I really appreciate you. All right, guys. So I just I know there was a lot of glitching and lag, and so what I'm doing now will hopefully fix said lag. There we go. Give me 2 more seconds. So hopefully we are all good to go here. I'm switching over from Wi-Fi to a Ethernet connection, and that should help with the actual live. There we go. All right, so now we're connected to we're directly connected with the Ethernet cable instead of being connected to Wi-Fi. So hopefully that'll fix where we are, guys, and we won't have any more of those pesky lags or glitches or anything. And as we try to keep this thing going, if you don't mind, guys, let's do all the wonderful things. Let's get everybody back here. Keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 125,000 likes. Let's share the live. We still only have 58 shares. Let's get the shares up to at least 150 shares. If don't spam share, but if a couple of people can share the live out a couple of times, it will help push us out to the FYP. So please, please, please consider doing all the wonderful things. W's in the chat for Jacob. Jacob sent a $1 donation saying, I hope you're having a great night. Love the convo. Really been helping me with my stress lately. I appreciate you more than you could ever understand. Jacob, I love you so much. You know how much of an important part of our community you are. Thank you for being here. Thank you for that $1 donation. Just thank you for being you, Jacob. Guys, that means now we only have $239 left in our nightly donation goal. If you would actually like to add to the nightly donation goal, you can do so. Cash App, Venmo. PayPal is acting a little wonky unless you've already sent me a PayPal before. If you've done so, then you can definitely do that. But $239 will help actually close out the nightly goal. Also, if you're over on YouTube, you can send a YouTube super chat, and that will help push us out to. I'm sorry, I can read that message. I'm sorry, guys. A little bit thrown off after having to try to fix the connection on the fly, but hopefully we're good. Hopefully we're good. Keep tapping the screen. All right. So I want to actually go to Mel. Mel, you're up at the top. Mel, how are you? Mel, I'm gonna send you a request to come off mute. Mel and Thor Outdoors.
Hey, Santana, my
Yes.
bad, man. I'm cleaning up behind my dog. I don't know how I got on here. I'm just listening and learning.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
listening. I'm a fan. Keep doing what you're doing. I didn't mean to be on here, man.
Okay. No worries. I'll drop you down. I appreciate you.
All right, take care.
Thank you. I think it's pronounced Connery. Is that how you say your username, Connery?
Corinne.
Corinne. I'm sorry. Holy smokes. I apologize. That was way off. That's way off. Corinne.
Um,
Corinne. How are you?
I'm traumatized right now.
Oh,
I've
okay.
had
Why so?
I've had PTSD since 1980 when I was 25, and a burglar came in through a window and strangled me at my
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
bedside.
whoa, 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 whoa,
I'm
whoa.
sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oops. I'm new to TikTok and I'm 70
Yeah,
years of
yeah,
age,
yeah.
and I'm so
Also,
sorry about what
also,
I
yeah,
said.
yeah. No,
I
no.
understand. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm
There
watching
not only is
TV.
there TikTok friendly language, but
Sorry.
you
Sorry.
also we speak to like trigger warnings. We don't want to just
Right.
actually,
Well,
put that
anyone
out.
else here, I'm
Uh,
so sorry. I'm
yeah.
so sorry. So I had to, I've recently had it reactivated. Let me just leave the story then. I apologize.
Uh,
So I'm learning a lot listening to everyone here. Someone mentioned the other night in your live, I believe, with my memory at 70 years of age, it's coming back during this. I'm really in heightened PTSD is what I wish to convey while I try to speak about what I am learning. um, and some man where I had to go file papers about what happened to me
oh,
also re-traumatized me. So I'm a PTSD since disability since 1996.
okay. All right. Yeah, I definitely understand. I guess what on the background actually caught your attention and made you want to join the live? Oh, I think you're muted. I'm gonna send you a request to come off mute.
I'm sorry. Um, I think it was I saw Amy and hearing her again. She might have been the one that said I was using ableism the other night when I was trying to use chat to point something out, and I thought, me use ableism, and I read the discoveries, the definitions of both ableism and intersectionality while I've been listening to this live this evening. So you all have taught me a lot, and it's helped calm down this horrific PTSD that you heard me. I look like a monkey when I have to hold my head down to come back to life when all this is going on. So thank you for not entertaining me, but helping me stay as calm as I can right now. Thanks. I'm learning a
Oh,
lot.
oh, okay. Well, I appreciate you so much, friend. I'm gonna drop you back down, and
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I yeah, I appreciate you you coming up. Kay, did you want to say anything before I dropped her?
I spoke.
Just a respectful reminder to people who are going to join the panel that we do not trauma dump here. We do not come out with very triggering topics without, asking permission before we share them. We are talking about the topics on the background in a broad way where we're not centering ourselves and possibly causing harm to people that are in the chat. If you are new to this space and you don't really know how late nights works, please take the time to familiarize yourself, come a couple nights this week, and then see if you want to join that conversation at another time. And if you are in crisis, you can dial 988 to speak to somebody, or there are multitude of resources in the Discord. If you need them, I will send them to you. But the panel is not where we're going to do any of that type of conversation. And if we could get to 125 likes very quickly in like 5 minutes, so we don't have to go to sub only, that would be amazing. And that's all I have for you right now.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna drop her down. I think it's pronounced Mergica. I'm sorry, like the person that's out of the app right now. The teacup. The teacup. Are you here? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and drop you down because teacup and makes me a little cautious. Guys, again, please keep in mind, if you request up, please actually be ready to have this conversation.
I can't get out.
Okay,
can you drop me?
I can drop you. Don't worry.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Guys, if you're joining the conversation, please be ready to actually join in the conversation. Please have a sense of understanding when it comes to intersectionality. Please have a sense of understanding as far as why you are looking to join the panel. We are looking to be able to continue to push out this conversation and not, just have an instance of joining just to join. Listen, I know it seems like a cool, fun place to hang out, but we are really trying to have a meaningful discussion, and we are really looking to further our conversation. So if you're looking to just learn, please, I invite you to learn from the comments. But if you're actually able to add something to the conversation, then definitely come up and add to it. But we just want to make sure that we are furthering. You're good. We're furthering the conversation because we want to be able to have these conversations. This is super important. Waggly, are you there?
Hey, can you hear me all right?
Yes. Waggly, what topic brought you up to the panel? Or I guess which one made you want to actually engage the most?
Mainly intersectionality. I just graduated with a degree in sociology with a minor in criminal justice. So I'm very familiar with intersectionality and the kind of topics that relate to that, and would be happy to provide any insights or answer any questions.
Okay. Well, yeah, the entire breakdown is intersectionality, but I'm assuming that you're referring to specifically the colonizing intersectionality?
Any and all of it. I mean, I've written several theses and papers about intersectionality and how it relates to, all facets of life and wherever you come from. So I'd be happy to discuss whichever. I've seen you on some other lives and really enjoyed watching you with other debate style stuff. So I'm just be happy to discuss it or provide my thoughts any way that helps.
Got it. And you said you just graduated?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been dealing with, the sociology, intersectionality, like those types of things?
So my first year, I wasn't majoring in sociology, but I got really interested into it my second year of college. I grew up in downtown Houston, and I went to a school where I was one of, 40 white kids in a school of, almost 1,000 kids. So I got to really see some things and experience culture in a way that I didn't experience. And learning about intersectionality just really became my whole shtick. I really enjoyed learning about how it relates to criminal justice, the privatization of prisons and all sorts of stuff like that. So I'm hoping to eventually make a career out of social work and stuff like that.
Okay. Cool. Got it. Yeah, give me a second here. Hey, Kay.
Yes.
What do you know about intersectionality?
You're gonna make me
Yep.
say how old I am?
I would just like for you to give perspective and levity.
Well, I wanted to talk about a topic, not the general thesis of the last few months. I mean,
okay, I'll hold off then.
No, I think I understand where you're getting at, and I think that freshly graduated is a good place to start. And but I would probably ask Wagley, what topic, like specifically, did you want to talk about in reference to intersectionality that's on the background?
Wagley, that was for you. Okay.
I guess I just, it's something I'm super passionate about, studying this kind of stuff. And so I just wanted to be able to provide my insight if possible. But I also understand, I don't know if this was more of a debate style or like an educational
No,
census.
not at all. So I'll be a little bit more straightforward. So I understand you coming in and lending your newly minted resume, and even more so, you're more than welcome to join the conversation. I think that the point that I was gonna try to make, but I'm gonna be a little bit gentler in the point, is that with this actual topic, and that's why I said, specifically like what topic. Yes, we've been dealing with intersectionality on late nights for a couple of weeks now, and we started with the basis, and we've been going deeper as it continues to go. But even more so, Kay, who is up in the corner, is the person who has helped not only craft, shape, but guide me through all of these types of intersectionality conversations. And more so because Kay is someone who not only has dedicated a portion of her life to this, she teaches intersectionality. She has a massive and extensive background. I'm not going to give all the tea as far as Kay's background, but I will just say a lot of the things that you're hoping to do, she has done at a super high level. And so I appreciate you coming in. If you want to add to the conversation, yes. But as far as, being a reference point or just being someone that, could actually help guide the overall panel or conversation, I appreciate you, but we do have Kay if that is needed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally understand. I just wasn't exactly sure with the whole topic of like colonizing intersectionality, if it was more of like, I was just trying to understand where.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I don't take it the wrong way. I just wanted to make sure that we're all aligned and we're all on the same page, and even more so, I want you to be able to add value to the conversation overall, because I can obviously tell that you're an intelligent person, and you have, like you said, it's your passion, and you have information and knowledge. So I want to be able to share that without the thought process or the burden of, as far as like, everyone can come to me or I have to do this or whatever. Yeah, but I appreciate that. But hold tight just for a second. Corey, how are you?
Hi, I'm okay. How are you?
Corey, what you got on my 40, homie?
So it's just not a thing that it's a topic.
Okay.
While we're talking about ableism and intersectionality, I haven't heard it talked about a whole lot. So it's the thing I want to bring up because it's a thing that I see. And we already know developmental disabilities, it's already in a pretty underserved community. As a whole, I mean, throughout the country, I think my state does a really good job of that. However, they also don't. And I think that the part that's missing is the minorities and the marginalized communities that also are further underserved in a way that is super harmful. And I'm not, I don't know how much of that, like, I don't want to share somebody else's story necessarily, because it is an individual that I support, well, to some capacity, but it's just a thing that I haven't seen talked about and want to, not necessarily by me, just wanted to bring it up. Okay, that's all.
Did you want to talk any more about it? I know it's not your short story to share or anything like that, but like anything more, anything else?
Yeah, so I mean, the situation specifically is, so I have 2 jobs. I am a service coordinator or assistant director for adults with developmental disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
My other job is treatment guardian for adults with mental health illnesses. So I make their like psych medication decisions and teach them what their psych meds do. I have had more individuals in recent months that should have been put on the DD waiver, is what we call it in New Mexico, who the reason why they weren't, or maybe not the reason why they weren't, but you can kind of draw the lines between, well, this, between, I think I need a minute to come up with the words
Yeah.
to make sure that I say it in a way that's correct. But they should have been given assistance, and they should have been provided that accessibility, and they weren't. And you could, there could be 100 reasons why, but there's seems to be a pretty clear disparity, I guess, between individuals that were given the tools and the resources to get on the waiver and get all of the support that we provide on the waiver versus those who weren't. Does that make sense? I don't know if I rambled or if I made sense.
No, it does. It does. It sounds like they're, and I've seen a couple of people in the chat kind of speaking to it, but the, calling them quote unquote invisible. But I think that speaks to the sense of certain people not having, not only not having the people advocate for them, but being treated less than because of, that certain level of representation and understanding. So I think that's a great thing to actually bring up and a great point to actually speak to. Kay, did you want to add anything to that?
Were you trying to get to somewhere where like the services that you're offering are, it's just a glaring, obvious disparity between, a marginalized group that's being further marginalized?
Yes. So, the person that's it has been on my mind the most, and it really breaks my heart is, she's it's very clear that it's Black and brown people that are in the state that we're in that are not given the same resources that a white person would be given. The amount of doctors that I've spoken to, this person has moved between so many different institutions, and this entire time that we finally found underlying causes that should have been found had she been listened to or given support and care that I know that I would have received. And that's kind of where I'm trying to, I just don't know what the right way to like verbalize it is without being insensitive.
Okay. Can you hit me on the back end with kind of what you're talking about so I make sure that we address like the right point?
Yeah.
Just real quick, and then we'll get back to it, and we'll have Santana move on for a sec.
Yep. I'll do this. Guys, W's in the chat for Alan. Alan sent a $5 donation saying, appreciate your lives. Alan, I appreciate you way more. Thank you so much for that $5 donation, Alan. Guys, that means now that we are we are only $234 from closing out our nightly donation goal. We got 309 people hanging out here. If 234 people send just $1, we can close out our nightly donation goal. So Cash App, Venmo, if you guys would like to support the live, anything is accepted. Everything is appreciated. If you're over on YouTube, like Rachel, massive W's in the chat for Rachel. Rachel sent $2 YouTube super chats. The first one said, hi, Santana. Bonita and Rachel said hi. Listen, Bonita, Rachel, hi. Second one, whatever. She said, Santana for president. Find somebody else to do it. But W's in the chat for Rachel. Thank you so much for those YouTube super chats, guys. If you would like to actually support the live, whatever, Frey. Don't do that. If you would like to support the live, you can send a YouTube super chat, or you can support through the pay links. Everything's accepted, anything's appreciated. Brenda, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Brenda, which topic on the background tonight brought you up onto the panel?
There are a couple of them: the colonizing, intersectionality, and I guess the
The cake.
ableism axis.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of learning more about that. One thing I do want to talk about really quickly is over the weekend I went to a musical thing in Topeka, Kansas, of all places, called the Midwest Meetup.
Mm-hmm.
And I was invited because my love is one of the performers, and he's a rapper. He has CMT. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with what that is,
No, can you
but
explain it? Or at least give an
it's
overview?
yeah, it's a neuromuscular condition. It's Charcot. I can never pronounce the first word. Charcot-Marie-Tooth syndrome, and so he wears leg braces and stuff like that. But he's like very political in his rap from the left and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what was amazing is that he's done a couple shows like in the Kansas City, Topeka areas, and when he was in Topeka last, there was a young man who had come to see him and was very excited and asked for his one song that he talks about his condition called Super Gimpin. And so he performed that song. And then that young man was there this weekend, and he got up to perform for the first time in 10 years after having a stroke.
Really?
Yes.
That's so freaking
Yes.
awesome.
So he was brave enough to.
Is that like, is it on YouTube or anywhere that we can find it? I would love to see that.
I'm not really sure if the whole thing was filmed. Aaron's channel is he goes by Ridiculous Beats.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. So I think you could probably find it, maybe somewhere through that. But it was kind of funny because I went for another friend of ours that came from Louisiana and performed in the morning. And then I went back to visit my dad because he lives in Topeka. And then I went back when Aaron was in town. So, but yeah. So, I mean, it was fantastic to see, that young man get up there because everyone wasn't, really sure because they loved to see him. But all of a sudden he was like, they were like, well, he's actually signed up to perform. So, which was great.
Yeah, so I found him, Ridiculous Beats. It doesn't look like he's put it up. Oh, okay. I was hoping that he had it. That would be awesome to see. I would actually love to see that. But at the very least, I'll give him a follow.
Yeah. Awesome. But again, it's called the Midwest Meetup. So you might just have to
Midwest Meetup.
search
Let me
for
look
it.
for that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I would love to see that.
Okay.
Oh, see, okay, wait. So this is, and so this just happened. Oh, they got 2024 up here, but they don't have 2025. I'm sure they're gonna put it up here at some point though, because they have like years and years
I
of
think
it.
so. Yeah, I'm thinking they actually had one in January of this year, and then they had yesterday. And I know that some people were recording. It's just a matter of, them getting it up and everything. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, supporting would be awesome.
Absolutely. All right. So there's multiple things that we could actually have you dive into. Which I'm sorry, can you remind me one more time of the ones that you said that you were that brought you up on the panel?
The top two.
Okay.
Top two, I guess.
So let's talk about colonizing intersectionality. What are your thoughts around that?
Well, I know, I've kind of learned a lot about intersectionality from, like I said,
on a previous chat about Mona from Mona Eltawawi when I mentioned her book. So I don't know, I'm always open to still learning and that sort of thing. And I don't want to centralize myself. And I know I had the issue one time on here in regards to doing that. And, I still kind of feel bad about it, but at least I acknowledge it and, try to learn from it and try not to make it happen again. But, I'm definitely trying to get, more, especially white women, to understand and learn about intersectionality, because I don't think a lot of them have even ever heard the word, let
I
alone
think a
learn
lot of
about
people
it.
haven't, period.
Right.
I think there's a lot behind that, and I think there's a lot of people who may know something about it or may kind of have a sense of it, but they've never been through the process of like actually trying to understand it or grow and learn and things like that. So I think it's a great opportunity
Hmm.
for a lot of people, and even people that may know something about it. It's an opportunity for them to even grow more so in intersectionality. So absolutely. Okay. Perfect. Kay, I see we just sent an invite. Are you ready or do we want to hold off for a few more minutes?
Yeah, no, I'm I'm ready. But I'm gonna wait until Corey comes back up in case there's questions. Oh,
Okay.
there she is.
Okay. Let me
But
say this
to
real
speak,
quick.
yep,
And
go ahead.
W's in the chat for H Ruckers. H Ruckers sent a $2 Venmo to say thanks for these conversations. Listen, thank you for being here. Thank you for adding to the nightly donation goal. Thank you for being a part of our community, guys. That means we only have $232 left in the nightly donation goal. Cash App, Venmo, and if you like to support, you can support on YouTube, Super Chat. With that being said, done. That's not how you get on the panel, bud. Let me up is not how you get on the panel. And also, like Corey just said, no, you're not coming up. Anyway, Kay, the floor is yours.
So, to talk about the situation that Corey was bringing up, so it speaks to medical racism, and it also speaks to what is a very pervasive and systemic problem within psychology itself, and getting diagnosed. So if somebody has a primary diagnosis of whether it be schizoaffective disorder, bipolar disorder, something like that, and there are also other things that could be altering mood and status, those things are often overlooked as, well, like in this particular situation, like this person has an attitude problem, but it's really another diagnosis that, us doctors don't test for and don't work on, especially in already marginalized communities. So that's a really big part of when we were talking about medical racism before. It does extend into psychiatry and mental health, not only in the capacity of marginalized communities not seeking mental health benefits due to, well, I'm already marginalized here. And so in order like for things to not be worse, um, I don't want to go get tested for this, or there's a stigma in the community. So someone will just be like, oh, that's just how they are, and there's no testing, and that's how we actually had like how one of the very ableistic terms that we don't like to use on lives, but SLOW, that we see sometimes in chat. That happens a lot because that was the catch-all for, hey, he's just like that. He's a little this, that's just how he is, or
Yeah.
that's how she is. So it's a problem because people don't want to seek out those mental health services. But then when they do, if there's a primary diagnosis, it's like they only want to treat that. They only want to do the bare minimum. But there's usually, if one, then usually 2 or 3 others to accompany that if they're not actually treated, makes actually treating the primary diagnosis even harder. So if somebody does have, say, bipolar 1, but they also have depression, and maybe they were diagnosed with the depression, but they have this bipolar that's being like kind of staved off by medication, nobody does any further things to go, oh, wait, you actually need this type of medication and not this type of medication because it would treat 2 things, or you need an added bonus of a medication so that these working in concert will take care of multiple conditions. So we see a lot in marginalized communities where if there's a primary diagnosis, testing kind of stops, and then they're just like bounced around from place to place to place that will take them, and it's kind of a horrific condition. And those are like predominantly like the patients that I see are people who have been to multiple physicians, and then they will come because I'm low or no cost. So then they come to me, and then we work out those secondary and tertiary diagnoses. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So that sparked a thought, definitely in the Black community, right? And I'm sure it's all around. I'm sure it's all around, and I'm sure it's not just like the Black community, but it reminds me of like how, in a sense, that certain aspects of like the Black community where they don't want to get like the kids tested for certain possible diagnoses, or even there's older people within our family who has always just kind of been written off as like, oh, the quote unquote crazy uncle, or the quote unquote SLOW uncle, or whatever the case may be. And it's more so, I understand there's a whole thing with the unwillingness of Black people to seek medical attention because of mistrust with the medical system, but also I think there's a lot to it where there's I don't want to call it a fear, but there's something where they know there's something, but if they actually diagnose it or keep going, then they're gonna have to go further and find out that it's more than what they expect. Is that somewhere like connected to what you're saying?
Yeah, because it's more of a survival. It's more of a survival tool, because so if you are Black, you are marginalized that way. Then if you go and get tested and you also are autistic somewhere on the spectrum of that, or neurodivergent, or if you have schizoaffective disorder or bipolar disorder, there's a stigma around that. And so if there's no name to it and it's just the way that they are, it's like a kind of a protection mechanism. And it runs, yes, in marginalized communities, but it also happens in a part of like the country that like the flyover states, and like in like the country in rural areas a lot too, mainly from a mistrust of the medical system or subpar medical systems. But we also see like it, because there's an old adage that if someone's coming in to the hospital for something that's from like the farming community, like you automatically set up for trauma. And it's bad. Whatever it is, it's bad, because if it's forcing a farmer to leave the farm and come into a medical facility, you better be looking for like a digit or a limb or something to be like, it has to be so severe, and that's why we see so many like health related things also that just happen in those homes because they won't seek preventative care. So all of those, but yes, pervasive in the Black community, but also very pervasive with like Hispanic families and with like the Latino community, is hit hard by the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right. So Kay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask one question.
Mhm.
Can I ask if short life is a woman or femme presenting person? Because I just noticed everyone who was up here and I wanted to do something.
She is. I think so. Short life. You are. You identify as. I think we had a conversation around this. I don't know if you said you're two spirit or whatever. Are you? What are your pronouns? Yes, I do. Yeah. Yes. So short life is.
Okay. So a lot of people had mentioned about talking about the colonizing intersectionality. And there's enough white women up here to have that conversation. But it was kind of
Holy
actually
smokes! Is everyone? Well, wait. Is everyone? Did you?
Yeah.
Hold on, Brenda. Are you a white woman?
Yes.
Did white women just colonize my panel? What is happening? And now I'm
as
frozen.
pasty
Hold
can
on.
be.
If short life is
She
Two-Spirit,
she's indigenous, but
so
she's white presenting.
Okay, but she's still indigenous.
Yeah, but you know,
That's,
this is what she told
So,
me,
but-
Kay. I'm just telling you what she told me.
and I'm just telling you that she can't be colonizing anything.
I'm just saying.
Who let who up though? Who let whom up though?
I don't know. I don't know who controls letting people up. It's not my job. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kay.
So, what I just wanted to say about colonizing intersectionality is that to get started to understand the concept, even though we've been talking about intersectionality for a good couple months now, the colonization part of it happens specifically with white women, and when it comes to feminism. And so, white women feminism bad. White women feminism bad. Intersectional feminism better. Womanism best. However, womanism is a term that was coined by Alice Walker. There's an extensively amazing book of short stories and poetry by Alice Walker, in Our Mother's Gardens. I think I might have the first two words messed up. But where talk about womanism, which takes into account all women and femme presenting people, specifically focusing on the judicial and violent disparities that happen amongst Black women. And so I urge everyone, as we move this conversation through intersectionality into deeper waters, to look up womanism, allow it to decenter white women, allow it to have your mind go to places that are not about white women feminism, because it's super harmful. And so if you're not working as an intersectional feminist, then you're doing something wrong. If you're just worrying about white women feminism, which is usually the downfall of white women when they talk about feminism. So
Kay, did you see
Yes.
the question from Chloe in the chat?
I'm so sorry, I was not looking at the
chat. No, you're good. She was
so we wouldn't use womanism as a term. We can talk about womanism as the concept and why we move from talking about white women feminism to looking into researching, reading, and diving deep into womanism, because it encompasses all of us. It encompasses, even though it is a main focus in the disparity when it, was first coined, to now, even in Alice Walker's writings, she is absolutely wanting for this effective womanism to actually encompass everyone so that we're working together. We need to make sure that we learn the term, learn its origin, learn where it was derived from, because it came from like the court systems and legislation, but then it moved into, bringing through, like, I'm part of the queer community as well. So it's the queer community and femme presenting people, women, but it is centered around Black women, and I need you to very much understand that that is what it is centered around. But in order to get a better understanding of intersectional feminism, reading Alice Walker is a step in an excellent direction. Her writings are incredible.
Good stuff. Let's
May I add something to that?
Sure.
Okay. When she was talking about that, it triggered her memory of, I think it was in 2022 or whenever it was that Roe v. Wade was overturned, that they had I think it was in October, they had the big like women's marches everywhere. And like, I'm in the Kansas City metro area, so it was a big hub to do because we actually had two different women's marches. One was white feminism, and the other one was more intersectional, because what had happened was the people that were putting on the white feminism one, at first they invited, I can't think of her last name, but her first name is actually Justice, but she is a Black doula in the Kansas City metro area. And they invited her to speak, but they weren't really like very specific on the fact that they just wanted her to be like one of the speakers. So she thought she was being invited to be included to help plans, make suggestions, and that sort of thing. And when they said, no, we just want you to come and talk, you can be one of the speakers, we'll let you talk or whatever. And it was kind of just condescending. And she's like, I think we'll just have our own, And so she set it up and, advertised it. And then, one of my friends, who's also white, she's like, hey, make sure you're going to the correct one. Go to the one that Justice is having at this place. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't realize there were two different ones. Glad to know. I'll be sure to share that out. So we're going to, the one that is more intersectional, more inclusive, to include, trans people, LGBTQ, and that sort of thing. So it was interesting to see that. I didn't see the other one, so I don't really know how it was presented more than like what was on the local news. But I mean, I do remember it was a big thing because there were two separate ones. Because, the white women, I guess, couldn't, let a Black woman be in charge, from what it sounded like.
So I would just caution anyone who's going to any type of march, protest, anything, to look to see who the organizers are and vet them. There's been many cases where organizers are, have a past of harmful rhetoric. And so, yes, that is something that I would make sure that, you're making sure who your organizers are, you're making sure who is putting on, you're vetting every single thing that you're, going to attach your name to or, be a part of, because there are plenty of people out there that are trying to do things that are not qualified to do any of that.
Yep. I agree. I would like to take this opportunity, even though Corey hit us with the skedaddle, I would like to take the opportunity to pass around to the rest of the panel and just to get an understanding of the level of, well, I guess to get a lack of better words, a better understanding of your understanding of womanism versus feminism and the role that it plays overall when it comes to intersectionality. Or if you haven't heard about it, then you hadn't really heard about it. But I would love to get that feedback. So I'll start with you, Jillian. What do you know about womanism versus feminism?
I actually don't know much yet, but I just had downloaded a few different books on it at the same time that I did They Were Her Property, which I've just barely started reading. But it seems to be just basically if you want to dumb it down, like how inclusive you're being. If you're
We
not
don't
being
want to
inclusive,
dumb it
then it's
down.
not the right feminism.
Yeah, we don't want to use the phrase "dumb it down."
Yes, thank you, Kay. Kay,
I mean, we can break things down to, like bare bones. We can break things down to, remedial, education, but we don't want to use phrases like that.
Okay.
Kay,
Yeah, no.
you know what? I'm sorry. I would be remiss if I didn't call back to the beginning of the live and just to get your thoughts on it. So there was a conversation, and Jessica, I think, spoke extremely well to the people within the people with disabilities and the harmfulness of certain terms, i.e., like you just corrected. And I know there was some back and forth conversation about basically some people saying that it may or may not be a thing, or can you give us your perspective on those types of words that can be impactful to the other community or the marginalized communities? And I'm going to say this for a lack of, well, I'll spell it out, but Jessica spoke to the term deaf and, DUMB. And the callback that has as far as like the overall negative connotations. But can you speak to that and just kind of flesh that out? Because I think there's a little bit of a misconception as far as utilizing those words and being cautious about, the things that we say.
I'm sure. And I am so sorry that I missed Jessica talk on that topic, because I know that I'm sure she did it justice. So I don't want to repeat anything that she may have already said. But Jessica, if I do, please just jump in and cut me off and say, I already talked about that. But, when we police our language for anything really, and we recognize that we're using terminology that is rooted in a place, we may use a term that we grew up hearing over and over again and didn't know where it came from. As we extend education, and when I say extend education, I want to make it very clear that I don't mean by going to college or getting secondary and masters and PhDs and MDs and all that. I really don't. I mean what you do when school ends, how you enrich yourself as a better person. So when we talk about ableistic language and we talk about things like like SLOW or LAME, there are people. Disabled people are not a monolith, just like anybody else is not a monolith. So some people are going to say, well, that's okay with me. Or, but in general, cleansing our language of things that are harmful to people that we wouldn't even think about, or just not using phrases that, attack somebody's intellectual, thought process. People who, I'm somebody who uses the word too much. It's a filler word. It doesn't mean that I don't know what I want to say. It doesn't mean that I, it's just a filler word. So we use all of these things, but it's not. It's time for us to like be cognizant of certain words, where they started, where they came from. We don't tolerate anything that's racist language. We shouldn't be tolerating any ableist language. And if someone just says like, hey, like just saying to Jillian just a second ago, like, hey, quick call in, like, let's not use dumb it down, because that's just saying like you need to make it so simple for somebody who when that's not really it. Everyone's got to have a baseline of knowledge, and Jillian going, gotcha, and then we just move on. So it's super easy to do a quick call in when people are ready and able to accept it. Sorry. It's not when when there's a stubbornness or the unwillingness to change or the comfort level. So just, I think being very intentional with your words is pretty much the extent of it.
I always wonder, and maybe this is where I want to go with this, because when we talk about intersectionality and we talk about the marginalized communities, and we talk about those, not only the actions, because we understand like the different actions that affect marginalized communities, right? When you talk about some of the stories that both Megan and Amy has shared and Jessica has shared, we talk about colonizing intersectionality. Short Life, I know you jumped in and you shared a couple of stories with us last week about your perspective as an Indigenous woman and people who are trying to like basically use your is indigeneity, I think that's how you say it, but using that to gain access to said government grants and things like that. Or if we talk about speaking up versus speaking over, and we haven't even gotten into proximity, so we gotta. That's correct. Hey, W's me. But we understand that like there's certain actions that people are either intentionally or unintentionally involved with, and it's easier to call out. And I think a lot of people are more willing to correct those actions at times because they don't want to actually be looked at in a quote unquote negative light. But when you start talking about like words, right? Words. There was a couple of things that happened across these TikTok streets lately, but there was I guess an acceptance of someone using the R slur, and then a back and forth conversation about whether the R slur is an actual slur or if it's a word, and then certain people saying that they're a part of the neurodivergent community and blah 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 blah, and they should be able to say it because it's reclamation and all this other stuff. But then it gave credence to saying like, oh, people are being sensitive. People, why are you being so sensitive? Why can't we just say what we want to say? Why is it that you have to actually monitor the words that we're using? Like you guys are just too sensitive. And then it kind of shifted to saying like, oh, pick me is a slur. And while it's very misogynistic, it's rooted in misogyny. There was a whole back and forth about if it's an actual slur. And so I guess I'll pass this around to the panel, and Short Life, whatever, Athena. Short Life, I want to start with you. Why is it that certain people have such a hard time with just not using words that other people say is dehumanizing? And then why do people try to use like other words to actually like say, oh, this is a bad word and this makes me feel some way, and so this word should be equal to that word? Like, what are your thoughts?
So I feel like you can't really judge, like, individual words and how they affect different ethnicities, because all negative terms regarding to individual ethnicities come with generational trauma, and just the history that only that ethnic group really experienced. So as far as one group saying, this is the same as that is to you, so I should be able to say it, type thing, comes with a lot of, I think, misinformation. If I can give an example, like, I'm sure everyone's been to a work meeting or a school meeting and they've said, hey, let's have a powwow about this.
Yeah.
Now, you know, like, that's a big group meeting to discuss things. But in the Native community, powwows are where we come together, we do ceremonies, we connect, we share cultures. Like, that's very important to Native Americans as a culture. So do people who don't understand that or don't experience that think that powwow is, in that term or in that phrasing, a derogatory or a slur? It's not a slur, don't get me wrong, but they don't understand the connotations behind that and why having just a simple work meeting and calling it a powwow is offensive to our actual traditions and what powwow truly means to us.
Yeah. So let me take it here then, because so like I learned that when, and for me, there's certain terms within the indigenous community that I've had to learn, like, hey, just take it out of my vernacular completely, right? And even like to turn a phrase, right? The one that I learned very early when I started to host lives, and if you've ever said this actual saying, you want to stay away from it. And short life, if you like, I'll let you explain to the people why. Like, it's such a not. It's not like a slur or anything, but it's definitely something that it's not good because of what the thing is connected to. Anyway, when people say, "Oh, you're at the quote unquote bottom of the totem pole," and how like that's such a negative connotation because of what the totem pole represents as far as in the indigenous community, and what that bottom rung is.
So I can't speak too much on that because that's not necessarily my culture. From my
Okay.
understanding, totems and everything is more like the Canadian, certain parts of Canada, they're indigenous, and I think Alaska. So I don't feel comfortable like diving too deep into
Okay.
it because
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
honestly know. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's just something that, like, I have the
S-
basic understanding from listening to other people,
mhm.
and I don't want to do it an injustice or not properly explain it.
Yeah. So I'll do my best since I already started the story. But so the information that was shared with me is the negative connotation that is saying something is at the quote unquote bottom of the totem pole, meaning it's lesser or not as good, is absolutely contradicting to what the totem pole stand for, meaning that the bottom of the totem pole is actually the strongest part of the totem pole. It is the base, the foundation. Without the bottom, there's no way the rest of the actual totem pole can stand. So it's a very cherished part. And so when people talk about, oh, I'm at the quote unquote bottom of the totem pole, well, you're disrespecting that culture and what they actually utilize that for, just to quote unquote turn a phrase. But I say all that to say, once I found that out, right? Once I was corrected on that and I was told, like, hey, you shouldn't say that because this is what it means to us versus what you're actually saying. And I was like, cool, not going to say that anymore. Um, but and short life, I want to come back to you for a second, but I want to hear from everybody else as well. Like, why is it that certain people, when they are corrected in real time and they hear those type of things and they say, oh, like, hey, you shouldn't say those things and this is why. why do certain people like fight back so hard and like, oh no, I like it, I should be able to say that. And welcome in Swan Raid. Welcome in Swan Raid.
I think a lot of it is they don't want to be, well, one, they don't want to be insensitive, but two, they feel like if they have some sort of proximity to it, that they're entitled to use those words or phrases. I think an ingrained entitlement by proximity essentially is the biggest culprit.
Yeah. I think there might definitely be something with that. Jessica, what about you? Why do you think that when certain people are corrected and they, you know, they're told like, hey, the things that you're saying, they're harmful, don't say those things. Why do they fight back so hard and try to hold on to the ability to say those things?
I personally, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Sorry, my box didn't light up, so I was just making sure. um, but I honestly think that if they had to learn how to correct without fighting back, I think it would just prove that what they had learned was not correct, which means that they've been doing it for so long. And then have to admit all the damage that they possibly had done in the process of doing the harm without realizing it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and I think once you start to challenge that process and the way they thought and the way they did things, then it becomes even harder for them to actually accept it. So I definitely think there's something to that. Amy, what about you? Why do you think that when people are corrected when it comes to harmful terminology and saying things that are harmful to others, why do they fight back so hard to be able to say those things anyway?
That's a good question. I think some people might be so like so stuck in their ways maybe. For example, I have another lady in my building. She I'm just gonna say it. I don't like this term. It just bugs me. But when she refers to African American people, Black people, she always refers to them as colored, and I'm like, that's not right. And I'm like, and when I try to correct her, and she just doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that there
And
is
and that kind of, yeah, I'm sorry. And it kind of brings me
how
into
old
kind of
is
why
she?
she's 84.
So do you think there's an actual disconnection as far as like a term that she used for such a long time, and then it really pushing back because that's like, well, we used to say this.
Yeah, that could be.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Amy. Megan, coming to you. What about you? What do you think? Why do you think that there is such an aversion to actually hearing the feedback from certain people when they talk about harmful terms or harmful terminology that's being used, and why do they fight to hold on to those harmful terms?
So I think one big thing is just that they are uncomfortable. Like they become uncomfortable in being called out, and that like uncomfortability, like you start to see like some resistance in their behavior as a result of, or like as a response to you calling them out. And overall I think it just has to do with them like reacting to them feeling so uncomfortable that as a result they react and respond kind of negatively to what you're telling them that they're doing wrong.
Yeah. I think and that goes back to a lot of times whenever we talk about like the when you talk about any type of deconstruction, you talk about that uncomfortability and sitting in that uncomfortability no matter what it is. And I think that is definitely something. Definitely. Jillian, what about you? Why do you think that people, and not only do they push back on it, but they fight to be able to continue to use those terms or words to say like, I should be able to say that?
I think part of it is, I think some people just flat out have no empathy for anybody else, whether it's racist, ableist, anything, like they just don't care. So we have to, I wish there weren't any people out there like that, but there obviously are. But I think there's also a lot of people that don't have a good or don't have a certain perspective on intention versus effect. And, they feel like, well, I didn't intend anything bad by it, so that's your fault if it made you feel a certain way. Rather than, they don't want to be corrected in things. Well, that's not how I meant it, so I'm in the right.
Okay. Thank you. Brenda, what about you? What do you think? Why is it so hard for people to accept that feedback and accept the fact that the terminology that they're using is harmful and they shouldn't be using it?
I would say sometimes it comes down to an ego issue, and they don't like to be corrected, especially, to be honest, if it's like a certain type of people, like if they have their own prejudices against minorities, and they're like a white person, for example. I mean, I've had issues, like I've told you before, like in my own family. You know, I can't remember exactly what the conversation was with my dad one time, and it kind of threw me because, of course he's in his 70s, but we were talking about something in regards to the N word, and it just kind of threw me because he goes, I said something about, not saying that word, and he's like, well, yeah, but it's not like we haven't thought it. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, oh my God, I've never even thought of saying that word. So, and so sometimes it's just really strange. Like, and I told you before about the whole Colin Kaepernick thing, and like my mom, for the past, 5 or 6 years of her life, before she passed, she wouldn't even watch the NFL because of the whole kneeling thing, but not on the correct side of, people being, not watching in solidarity with Kaepernick. She was on the other side. But whereas my dad is a Vietnam veteran, and, he understood, he took the oath, and he understood that people don't have to stand for the national anthem, and he fought for their right to be able to do that.
Right.
And she'd come back and say, "Oh, well, he just wants to be able to watch football." And I'm like, "No, Mom," and stuff like that. So even in their own family, you have like things like that where it's just like you try to teach them, but they just don't. They don't have like critical thinking skills, to be able to understand that they don't know what they don't know, and to be open to learning.
Yeah, I think I definitely think there's a lot of people who are stuck in their ways, for a lack of better terms, and they are advert overall to even being open to changing and new things and things along those lines. So I definitely think there's a lot to that. Okay. Kay, what about you? Kay, why do people fight back so hard just to be able to say the words?
Speaking for my people, because they're racist, because they're ableist, because they're phobic, because that first, all of those first, and then we can get into, people not growing with time, like, Amy's neighbor being 85 isn't an excuse. I never let age be an excuse for anything. You either keep moving, or, like, I don't know. I'm a big fan of ostracizing from society when, you can't, like, keep going with the times, can't change and move while we evolve. And then I'm going to push back on the they don't know what they don't know, because I'm pretty sure I sent you this video, but and I wish I could remember the creator's name because I want to give credit, but the line is it's not that they don't know, it's just bigotry.
That sounds like something I said.
I definitely know it wasn't you. But it is not for a lack of knowledge. It is just blatant bigotry in whatever form it's taking, whether it's, a phobic statement, whether it's an ableist statement, a racist statement, a misogynistic statement, any of those things. So from now on, it is, for me, it's not it's willful ignorance at that point, and it's bigotry. And so if no one's going to do work and no one, is going to change, then, but also, I mean, the uncomfortability part plays a role in it, and, white people's, perceived right to comfort. But I mean, that isn't an actual thing. So, like, letting them stay comfortable is, letting us stay comfortable in certain situations is, it's never going to change anything.
Yeah, no, I agree, right? And I think that we have to lean into that uncomfortability if we want to be able to change and grow. And I think it's very necessary, very, very necessary. All right, so I'm getting ready to come to Swan, but before I do, call out to a couple of quick things. Guys, tap the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes over. Let's close the live out with at least 250,000 likes. If you look up here, right there. Yeah. There's a timer. Tells you how much time is left until t-shirt time. So tap the screen, share the live. Let's lock in. Let's get the likes up. Also, guys, we have $232 left in the nightly donation goal. If anyone would like to contribute to the live, support the live, the best way to do so is Santana Speaks 24 through Venmo and Cash App. PayPal is acting kind of funky at the moment, so if you want to donate, you could do so through Cash App and Venmo, or you can send a YouTube super chat. And if you look up at the top of the screen, if it says the word follow, that means you're not following me. This is the main account. Go ahead and follow this account. And turn on your notifications so you know when I go live, because if you don't, then I do random sporadic lives and you don't want to miss those. And last but not least, I got the okay to share some really great news. I'm super proud of our community. And once we wrap up the live this evening, I plan on sharing like some amazing, amazing news from our community. So please, please, please stick around and be a part of the amazing news. It was absolutely awesome. Anyway, and also, guys, massive W's in the chat for Brenda. Brenda just added $7 to the nightly donation goal with a confetti celebration or whatever. And so that means that we only have $225 left in the nightly donation goals. W's in the chat for Brenda. Thank you so much. Swan.
Yes.
So first and foremost, guys, if you're looking up here and you see Swan and you guys like, oh, it's Swan. Hey, we know Swan. This is Swan's 5,932 page or 30-second page. So there's that. The only person that I think I follow on more pages than Swan is Kobe, Athena. So like these two, they give me a hard time. I don't like following a bunch of accounts, but I follow like 15 of both of their accounts. So with that being said, if you're not following this account of Swan's, go ahead and follow this account. Swan is absolutely amazing. Swan, since you're late to the party, I'm going to make you do some heavy lifting. Listen, people often come up on your panel, and before they get into the actual root of the conversation, right, as far as getting into the conversation around race and racism and things along those lines, you often say, hey, not often, you say name, age, and race. And forget being advert to like not being a racist on the panel, not saying the N word on the panel. Like they don't even make it that far sometimes. They get hung up on pronouns. They get hung up on the race. Like, why is it that either they're so advert to even addressing those things to get to the whole point of the conversation, and why is it that like they fight back so hard just to be able, you say, you know, what's your race? Oh, I'm a human race. Well, what are your pronouns? I don't do pronouns. Like we haven't even gotten to the, you know, the fact that they're gonna come up and try to drop the N word. But why is it that they push back so hard from the very jump?
I think it's because we live in a heteronormative society. And so here's the one thing too that everybody has to remember about my life. I only ask people to come up that disagree. Anybody that joins is already wrong. So that's that aspect to it. But I think I've noticed, so because it's been almost a full year now for me, and we never had this issue, not as often at least, back when I first started. But I think one of the major issues was as it got closer and closer and closer to election, right? Mm-hmm. I saw more and more resistance to people saying what their pronouns are. And then after the election, it got way worse. And I think a lot of it has to do, it's because we live in a heteronormative society. And this administration is trying to like double, triple down on those types of things. And I mean, it's just not reality. But people genuinely, because of propaganda and because of the things that he said, and because of, you know, the media and all this stuff, and their lack of understanding about the ways in which we are socialized and their inability to empathize with other people and to change, they have a lot of resistance towards it. And for me, I don't care. You're not going to speak on my panel. You're not going to talk about my prompt if you are going to mess around when it comes to pronouns. And I have to keep that firm boundary. Otherwise, I'm going to be responsible. For causing harm, right? And it would be transphobia is what it comes down to, is transphobia. And sometimes I'll call it out, you know, okay, listen, go unpack your transphobia. Then you come back, you say your pronouns, and we can have the conversation. Otherwise, it is what it is. But I think that it's all of those things collectively. And then people, I leave this to like a tiny bit, a lack of education in certain settings with pronouns. I don't think that that's the case, because they will literally say, I don't use pronouns, and you just use one. Or sometimes, you know, I'll kind of clap back and say, well, tell us about your last grocery trip to the store and don't use any pronouns. They look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, well, you're gonna sound like Tarzan, right? That's how you sound right now. It's your pronouns. Just say them. It's a respect thing, and we also talk about not like assuming people's pronouns and being mindful of not misgendering people. It's humanizing people. There's nothing wrong with it, but that's what it is, I would say.
Swan, why is it because the other part, right? And I got one more quick one for you, and then I'm gonna swing it around the panel one more time. But why is it like people are advert to saying like what their race is? Not the people that just can't answer the question, but even people who know that like the answer's not I'm the human race, that's my race, and they fight back so hard to even being able to answer that question. Why do you think that one gets them? Because I think that's a little bit different, and I'll tell you why, but I want to hear what you think.
Yeah, I think we commonly see that with YT people, where they want to other themselves from their YT-ness, right? Like for example, I'm Hispanic, Latino, but my race is Black. We'll get people that come up to the panel and they'll say, "Oh, I'm white and Hispanic." Well, you could be any race to be Hispanic, But we see that they try to test that boundary, because if I wasn't someone that would stand firm on not causing erasure, and the fact that if you are Latino or Hispanic and you're YT, own the fact that you are YT. What happens is you not owning it and you othering yourself and saying that you're just quote unquote presenting erases the experiences of Indigenous and Black, Hispanic, and Latino people. And I think having conversations about race and racism makes people uncomfortable. And I think what I've been witnessing lately is a lot of unraveling, because if we talk about privilege, then there's a threat to it, right? Like we see that DEIA it's a major, it triggers people, right? And they literally think in their minds that it's taking away from other people, but it's not. So I think that that's a huge part of it. And it's something that it has to be unpacked, but you'll see like a very like visceral reaction from some YT people when it comes to that. I've also noticed too, people from across the pond have a really tight grasp to their ethnicity, and they want to right now, because of what's happening over there with a lot of like racial hate crimes and things like that on the rise, they want to hold on tight to ethnicity. I'm not exactly sure. I'm still kind of exploring it, but that's just something I've noticed with people coming from the UK. But I think it's all of those things. I'm not going to say it's a lack of education anymore. I'm not going to do that because I think people tend to just lean into that. I think we have to just be straight up and, listen, this is what it is. You can acknowledge it or you can stay where you're at, but people are going to move past you and move around you.
Yeah. No, listen, I think that there is quite a bit to it as well, in the sense of there's oftentimes where and I see this like Black men specifically who I've seen this a lot with the Black men who are like, oh, you guys are just trying to make this a race thing. You always want to talk about race. We're all humans, da 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 da. And for me, when I see that and I think about it, I always think about like the fact that they are trying to say like, oh, we're all the same. Oh, you're the one that's making this a race thing by saying that we're all a part of the human race. And so I see that a lot. So that's the one that catches me. Swan, last thing for you, and then I'm going to pass it around to the rest of the panel. Hey, Swan.
Yes.
Why do you want to say the N word so bad? Just every time. Just like, why? Like, why do they need to say it?
This is going to sound kind of morbid, but YT supremacy and racism has impacted YT people in a way that it robs them of their ability to see the humanity in others. And I think that goes hand in hand with them being robbed of their ability to see the humanity in themselves. And which is why you're always seeing, like Kay had said earlier, the right to comfort. You'll see that prioritized almost all the time in conversations about racism with YT people because they need to feel comfortable. If we keep talking about race and all these things, then that's going to be a threat to their privilege. There's a very deep and dark history. I don't necessarily know if I want to go into that because I don't like to talk about our trauma in, a large, arenas like this. But because people being harmed solidifies their privilege, right? They see the topic of racism and immediately there's this reaction like, no, you have to stop that conversation. They're always trying to report and things like that. We have to stop the conversation because if we open the door and keep talking about these things, then that's going to somehow oppress them and be a threat to their privilege. So you kind of see them take jabs in these discussions, and them exercising that, not like they're right, but like them doing that makes them feel better about their circumstances, because as long as this person that's not white is doing worse than me, I know I get to hold on to my privilege.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree. All right. I want to pass it around the panel and get a little bit more information and kind of wrap this up because we got 5 minutes left. So passing around the panel, and I will start with Brenda. Brenda, coming back to you. We've talked about a lot tonight. Overall, why do you think that when it comes to really dealing with intersectionality, when it comes to understanding where we are, why do you think as a whole people struggle with understanding the perspective of others and how people can be marginalized versus when it comes to them? And I guess I'll be specific. When you talk to, and I'll use myself as an example, right? In the Black community, certain people within the Black community can point out racism and they can say that's racist, right? They know what racism is. They understand racism. They can identify it a mile away. But then there's a thing in the Black community that's called colorism, which is a parallel of racism, but they can't always identify colorism. So why is it that certain people can understand intersectionality on one level, but not on another level if it's not something that pertains to them?
That's a really good question. Um, I'm trying to think of the
Sorry to
best way
start off with you.
No.
I'll give you a second to think. Cheryl, W's in the chat for Cheryl, guys. Cheryl sent a $20 YouTube super chat. Cheryl said, "Hi Santana, hope you're having a good night." I am, Cheryl. Thank you so much for that $20 YouTube super chat. I appreciate you so much, guys. W's in the chat for Cheryl. Guys, if you would like to support the live, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Santana Speaks 24. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Everything is accepted. Anything's appreciated. If you're over on YouTube, you can do just like Cheryl and send a YouTube super chat, and I will read that message out. All right. Did that buy you enough time, Brenda?
Well, I hope so. Well, I was just thinking about like in regards to, and I know, Swan and Kay were talking about, the ignorance and that sort of thing for, some people saying that, making excuses for, other people. But I mean, if you recognize that you are like ignorant about certain things, but you are open to learning, I think that is okay, because I mean, you don't know what you don't know in some aspects. But I mean, I know that I was that way for a long time, but then I realized that I, that I was open to learning, and I wanted to learn, all I can, and, be not really say that I'm an ally, because I know that's not really something that you're supposed to say about yourself. But I mean, I just know that, there are things that I still have to learn.
Yeah.
So, you have, it's whether you're open to learning things, because you recognize that you have, biases and ignorance about things, or you're not, and then whether you can actually, discuss certain things with people, or whether they're worth your time and energy.
Yeah, yeah, no, I completely agree. I completely agree. Um, yeah, I think that making that decision and having that discernment is key. And perfect. Brenda, thank you so much for coming up and spending time with us tonight. I'm sending you something.
Oh,
Boom.
absolutely. Oh, thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
Hey, thank you so much, Brenda. I'm going to drop you down, okay?
Yes, you guys take care. Be safe.
Thank you. Have a good one. All right. Megan. Megan, coming to you. What do you think? Why is it that people can understand certain levels of intersectionality, but in a sense, they have an issue with it if it doesn't pertain to them?
I think it just has to do with them being put into a position where they have to become uncomfortable with realizing that they have biases, and then I think when you are having to address biases within yourself, then you're feeling uncomfortable and other things, and that can create issue when you start digging up the things that you are biased about.
Yeah.
And I think it's just, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think, like, in the nicest way possible, it's just a lot of selfishness almost, but mostly just being uncomfortable.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's a lot of it, and defending that their biases and defending that need to actually hold on to those certain things. I think that's a huge part of it. So I completely agree with that. Megan, again, thank you so much for coming up. Let me send you a little something, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night.
You too. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Jillian, what about you?
Hello.
Why is it like, you can talk to certain white women, Jillian, and they understand sexism and misogyny, but they don't get racism?
Well, I'd say some of them don't even understand misogyny.
Ooh.
Yeah, one of my friends actually was trying to tell me that that there's no such thing as toxic masculinity, because that's actually really good. It's a good thing.
Oh, it's an alpha male energy, I think they call it.
Apparently, I don't know, but I think I'm trying to think of how I used to. I think I used to just try and see it as, like, in my mind, that was a problem of the past. We don't have that problem now. And I don't know if that's a common thing or if that was just me before I realized that it was completely wrong. So maybe some people are like that. I don't know, but I think all people have a tendency to have a difficult time looking within and realizing their own faults and then trying to make any changes. So if they don't think they're racist, they're not gonna want to like look at things that make them realize, well, I wasn't actively racist, but maybe I kind of am, you know, like I think that's part of it. Well, and then some people just are racist. So I think it's a spectrum. I think there's not really a box that everyone fits into.
Yeah, yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that there's a lot of it where they don't necessarily get it because they mask it as something else, and then also it's just a lot of honestly a lot of deconstruction that needs to happen. So I think there's that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anywho, Jillian, thank you. I appreciate you
You're
coming up and hanging out.
welcome. I have a bunch of extra work schedule in the next few weeks, so I will probably be just watching afterwards on YouTube for a while.
Yeah, watch
So
the
it's glad I got
YouTubes
to get
and
up tonight.
turn on your
Yes.
notification because I might, I like to. I don't know if you catch any of my random lives in the day.
Oh, I
But,
do. Oh, I
okay.
do.
Okay. So I do that.
Yeah, they're fun.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you. I'm gonna drop you down.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, again, I have two announcements. Dos compadre. Dos margaritas. Two announcements at the end of the live. Two really cool things. So FYI. Hang around. Jessica, why is it that people can understand certain aspects of intersectionality when it comes to things that affect them, but not the things that don't affect them?
Well, I think part of it has to do with them not wanting to know 100%. Because I'm going to push back a little bit on Brenda a little bit. Just like what Kay said earlier, it's not that they. I mean, the phrase "you don't know what you don't know," that's nice to say, but some people just honestly don't want to know because, again, that's when they have to take on the work to deconstruct what they've actually learned, as well as to take accountability for the harm that they possibly have done up until this point when they realized it was wrong.
Do you think that, like, them admitting that they've been wrong, like they push back on because then like they have to reevaluate their entire life and everything that they've done?
Yep, pretty much. Because again, they could have done undue harm where they didn't mean to, but that's exactly how it came across. Just like how with every person that's in the disabled community, some of them might say yes, that's fine, and then the other ones say no, that's not. So it's good to just have a generic understanding of what could or could not be harmful, and to double check with people to make sure that that you're not doing unintentional harm. And that goes for anybody, no matter what it is.
Okay. Okay. All right. Perfect. Listen, I completely agree. And I appreciate you so much, Jessica. Go ahead and boom. Give you that.
Oh,
And
thank
I'm
you very
gonna drop
much.
you that. Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, it didn't necessarily seem friendly. But okay, I'll do it. Amy, Amy, what about you? What about you? Why do you think that there is a aversion to understanding intersectionality unless it's something that actually affects certain people?
That's a good question. Like the others were saying, I think it's maybe something that they don't maybe want to understand or can't understand, or or maybe it's just something that they've, I don't know how to say it, but grew up with. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just say, Amy, I do think that a lot of people
Yeah.
tend to lean on those things that they say, you know, like, hey, it's what I've known, it's how I've always been, it's, you know, blah 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 blah. So I do think that there is something to that. So I do agree with the fact that some people actually just feel like, oh, um, you know, it's all I know, and so I'm going to continue to actually do said thing. So
Yeah. And I just want to say I do enjoy your lives and learn a lot from you, and yeah.
yeah. Well, listen, thank you. I appreciate you so much for that, and I appreciate you coming up and hanging out with us, Amy, and that's for you. And I hope
Thank
you
you
enjoy the
very
rest of your
much.
night. Thank you.
You too.
Short life, short life. Why? Just just why? Why is it so hard for certain people to understand intersectionality unless it specifically has something to do with them?
I think a lot of it is just not that lived experience. Part of America, what enticed so many people here originally was that it was this great big melting pot. And under that melting pot, you know, you had different European countries kind of commingling, and that a lot of their culture and traditions and beliefs kind of went away in favor of assimilation. And so they can't understand ethnicities that do have a strong cultural background functioning differently than their own background because they don't have culture anymore. So just the thought of like different beliefs and how they can kind of swirl and merge into something different, or how one ethnic group can experience something but another can't. It's just a lost concept because they don't have those original connections anymore.
Mm. Yeah, I think that you see that a lot, and I think that's a big reason why I have such a issue with people who are like, oh, certain people need to come to this country and they need to assimilate. Like I push back on that so hard because why should people have to lose those connections and their culture and all of those other things? And then even more so, then it creates a lack of empathy and a lack of sympathy when it comes to understanding the struggles of others. So I definitely think there's a lot to that. So, but short life, thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate you. All right, 1 second here. Boop. And do 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 do. 45, 47. Do 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 do. 45, 47. Um, hold on. Really? Is this thing really gonna do this? This thing is being stubborn. I don't know what I'm doing. Fuck it, we ball. Kay, Kay, would you like to answer the question?
Hyper rugged individualism.
What does that mean?
White people have rugged individualism. We have, we don't have community. We don't have culture. People fight me on that on a consistent basis. I've yet to have somebody tell me what white culture is, besides things that we actually know it is.
Raisins and potato salad.
Yeah, listen, whoever did that, that's a crime against humanity. I don't know how that ever even got started, but it's just wrong. But
I heard Swan do that all the time.
Listen, we're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. We respect Swan very much. We look at Swans live and we watch as the patience of sainthood is before us, because I genuinely I don't have that type of grace. I do, like, in person and with my patients and with my clients. I do not have that type of patience on this app. But I do believe that the hyper individualism is our problem. And we don't look outside of ourselves enough. I am with you 100% about the assimilation, because I think with assimilation comes erasure. And I don't think that that's a good thing. And with assimilation also comes the colonization and the taking of other people's cultures and adopting them as our own, speaking for my people. So that is, I think, one of our biggest problems. And I don't think that you don't know what you don't know is applicable in situations like this. I think that if you don't know something and you genuinely don't know it and you are having a conversation about it, and then you're like, I'm going to go look that up and read more about that, but I think it starts earlier. I mean, I think we should be having conversations, surrounding, people K through 12. Like, I'm a big proponent of, intersectionality being taught in school with mental health and things, and people will say, well, we need math, science, and social studies. Well, we're teaching whitewashed history anyway, so how about we actually do some good and teach real stuff instead?
I agree.
And then I wanted to clear up just a couple things that were in the comments tonight. One, being neurodivergent doesn't give you a pass when it comes to using words and language that is harmful to marginalized communities. Number two, Hispanic is not a race. So if there does need to be an identifier that comes with the race instead of just saying that you are Hispanic, it is important and is important to the conversation.
But human is a race.
Swan,
I learned that on Swan's live. No, Swan is the one that taught me that.
No way, Jose. I would never.
I know you wouldn't. Far too good for that. And then finally, if you feel that being neurodivergent allows you to say things that are harmful because you are short on words, or you are searching for a word to use, it does not. Even though you don't intend to do harm, the harm that you cause is still the harm that you cause. So those are things that happened throughout the chat that people were having a hard time with. And so I just wanted to clarify those points before we keep moving through this. I'm glad that we are back this week. And glad you got your shit figured out.
Kinda. I got to figure out, like, this isn't comfortable, like how I'm sitting. So I got to figure something out. I don't know. I know. It's all about comfortability. But Kay, I'm gonna send you this, but don't go anywhere because I got one other thing, so don't leave. Swan, what about you? What about you? Why is it that Swan specifically? Why do so many black people have a hard time with colorism, but they can understand racism?
I think from what I've seen, one is going to be because we don't have that discussion enough. It's definitely something that we need to talk about more. I will be completely honest. It wasn't even really something that I mean, I'm negatively impacted by it, right? 'Cause I'm a dark skinned black woman, but it was not something that I really like thought about frequently or even paid as much attention to. I don't know if she's still in here, but shout out to Brats and Lady P. The ways in which they've been able to take this information in and break it down and explain it out to other people, and she's been doing it for so long in the app, like really opened my eyes to the fact that we just don't talk about it enough. And I think what I've seen is because we are all experiencing racism, those things they overlap slightly. I think a lot of times a person who is a light skinned black person is thinking, well, you're taking away from my experiences, which is not the case. But it's they've internalized these things, and I think that I think but I think the main thing is that we really don't talk about it enough. Like that's the biggest part about it. And even when we do, people will have a very basic understanding of it and say things like, well, yeah, like a light skinned woman is gonna be, picked for a movie role or whatever the case is. But people are not talking enough about the fact that if you are a dark skinned black child, your chances of getting kicked out of class goes up. If you are a dark-skinned black woman, the maternal mortality rate is it's going to impact you more. Same thing when it comes to our criminal justice system. People don't even really get to that part of the conversation. So I think for me, it's us needing to have that conversation. And I also think that there are some light-skinned people that don't think about the fact that they're having a reaction because they don't want to let go of their proximity to whiteness. They don't want to talk about it because it gives them, we live in a society where in order for a person to feel good about themselves, they have to see somebody else doing bad. And you see this dynamic play out in all people areas of activity, boss and worker, parent and child, like poor, rich and poor, all of these things. But I think that that's really what it comes down to. If we weren't socialized this way, then we probably wouldn't feel as though we need to push down or punch down on someone else. And for some people, they really look at it as a threat to their survival. I have to double check the stat, but I'm pretty sure I heard somebody, I'm going to double check it, but I'm pretty sure I heard somebody say that within the black community, light-skinned people hold the most amount of wealth, which is very telling. But yeah, I have to double check that stat. So don't quote me on it. I'm going to double check it and I'll probably post it on my story tomorrow. But yeah, I think all of those things combined are the reason as to why it gets uncomfortable for people.
And it gets super uncomfortable, and it always blows me away that they have this perspective of racism and they can understand racism and like they can break that down, but then as soon as you and I always say just change the words. Just change the words. Do you not get it if you just change the words? But they struggle. I don't know. Anywho, Swan, let's see here. Swan, this is for you. Boop, boop.
Thank you.
Swan, I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you too. Thank you for having me up.
Yeah, guys, hold on. Stay there for a second. Guys, again, this is Swan's 938 page. So you might be thinking that you're following Swan, but you're probably not. Make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you follow this page for Swan. Make sure you follow this page, and so you can catch her. I often hang out in her live and bring the property value down because I add nothing to the live. So if you want to catch me when I'm not live and I'm just kind of hanging in the places that I enjoy the most. Her live is one of those places. So yeah, give her a follow. Anywho, Swan, drop you down.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You as well. Okay. Kay, I wanted to make like this screen like right, but it won't let me make it right. Like it's being advert to actually, Spike Lee. You know what that means?
We'll get over it.
But do you know what Spike Lee means?
Yes, but t-shirt time. See, here you go with
But
now.
look at this.
Now we got. Yep.
Dang
now
it.
I can just see your red hat. MAGA Santana. Peekaboo, you did not miss it, and I am also old and tired.
I said, what's your PayPal? Yeah, my PayPal. What? Oh, you're a troll. Guess what? Never mind. I'm not even gonna engage. Kay, we got some awesome news to share with the community. Even though I didn't tell you what I'm sharing, I'm hoping that you like read my mind and you know what I'm gonna share.
I think so.
Okay, cool. Kay, we did something really cool a while ago. Can you tell the people what we ended up doing a couple of months back as a community for one of our community members?
We held a mutual aid week for one of my favorite people, but I think it's one of our favorite people. And they were in a rough spot, and they were able to make it back to even. And that was able to do even more for them. And you want me to continue with what happened, or are you going to tell people, or am I going to tell people? I don't understand what we're doing here.
Well, I'll take it from there. Yeah, no, listen. Kay is spot on, right? We held a mutual aid, which is super important to our community. We try to make sure that we take care of each other. I say that all the time. And not only did we show up and show out for our community member, but we were able to get them to where they needed to be as far as taking care of their respective responsibilities, bills, and all this other stuff. So much so to over the weekend, they reached out to me, they reached out to Kay and let us know that due to our community coming together, helping them, supporting them, and getting them from a position of being in financial instability, they were able to purchase their very own home. What we did as a community together by helping them in their time of need led them to the ability to purchase their own home. It was just, it's such an amazing thing. I was just so happy. Like I was over the moon excited when they told me about that. But that is directly because of each and every one of you. It's because of our community. It's because of what we did together. It's because that, I say it all the time, we have to take care of each other. And that was just such an amazing thing to hear. And I wanted to be able to share it with you all. And I know they are in the chat. Fail, wave to the people. Phil and their partner, they were able to actually buy their very own home, or just a couple of months ago. There's Phil. Hey, Phil. Just a couple of months ago, they were in a situation where we had to help them out. And I'm just so grateful and so happy for each and every person in our community, because you guys all showed up and showed out amazingly and made a future impact. Like, this was not the intention. We didn't, like, this wasn't something that I thought was going to happen. It wasn't the intended goal or anything, but the good that we did collectively allowed us to continue that good forward. And so, I don't know, just made me happy, and I just wanted to share it with you all. Right, Kay?
Congratulations to Fel and their wife. And I think that just like, so that nobody is misunderstanding, we did not raise money so that they could purchase a house.
We did not. That's what I said. It was an unintended benefit.
they were in a very unsafe situation, and they were also providing for sibling and getting them through their senior year of high school to do all the senior things. And so when they got back to baseline, they were able to fix credit and do all sorts of other things just because of that. And then they were able to, on their own, qualify and purchase a house. So
Yep.
I'm so proud of them and their wife, and I'm so excited. The place is so cute, and I
It
am
is.
so happy for both of them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll just say this because someone else said, "Is it the mutual aid that we did to help someone escape a how do I say it? A hate crime situation in Florida?" No, that's not that one. But I did speak to the brother of the person that we helped with that one, and that person is relocated in New York with their family around people that love them and living such a great life. We had a conversation about this maybe about a week or so ago, and he was telling me, he was like, "Hey, like, I love you so much. If there's anything that, we could do because you helped our family." I was like, no. I told him, I said, first of all, if you say thank you again, like, we're going to fight, because like, we're community, we're family. That's what we do. We do that for each other. And so the person that we help escape the actual situation in Florida, they are relocated. They are in New York now. They're with their family and they're doing absolutely amazing. So there's that. Thank you for asking about that one. But no, I'm so proud of you guys. I'm proud of our community. I'm proud of what we do. Again, like the unintended, not consequences, but benefits of the stuff that we do is absolutely amazing. So yeah. Last thing, we're going to have brunch with our creator this weekend. Brunch with my creator this weekend. And I'm not going to say who the creator is, but we will have brunch with my creator this weekend. I will put out a video announcing the creator. But hey, Kay.
Hey, Santana.
Did you hear the new Brunch with My Creator song?
Sure did. I think you need to play it for the people.
Nah. I think they're going to have to wait. Do you think it's better than the other two songs?
That's putting me on the spot. I might, though.
I do. I heard the Brunch with My Creator song, and I was like, you know how many times I've listened to it now? Oh my God.
I don't know. I played it a few times. I think it's amazing. I don't know. I'm moved by it and I like it.
Yeah. So we'll be debuting our new Brunch with My Creator song this Sunday with Brunch with My Creator. I will make a video. I will put the information out as far as who our special guest is going to be. It's somebody that I absolutely love. And so it's going to be really great. But we will have Brunch with My Creator this Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Brunch with My Creator, where we will debut our brand new, very own, for our community. This is ours, Brunch with My Creator, just like Late Nights has its very own song, right? Just like Sparring. Just like Sparring has its very own song.
Late Nights with Santana.
Brunch with My Creator, the new song, debuts this Sunday. Kay, anything else for the people before we get out of here?
Hope everyone has a great night. You guys are fine.
All right. Thank you. All right. You better let me fix my panel now. Like, I don't like this. Why wouldn't it let me fix it while... It still won't let me fix it. Like, what are we doing? This is silly. Why can't I fix the panel? Late Nights with Santana. All right, guys, whatever. You suck. I'm talking about The View. Guys, this was also the first night that we used the new camera. I saw someone was like, why is Santana in 16K? It's because we got a new camera. We got a new camera. Anyway, guys, I love you all. I do. I genuinely do. If you're not following, hit that follow button up at the top. At the top, make sure you hit the follow button. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here because it is t-shirt time. I will see you guys back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. We're gonna get back into late nights. If you did not get an opportunity to join the panel, to join the conversation, then get ready because you get the opportunity to do it again tomorrow. We are digging deeper into intersectionality. We gotta do it. We gotta do it. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Guys, thank you for all the likes, the taps, the shares, the gifts. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the love. I appreciate you all so much. I love you all. And as always, peace.
Late nights with Santana. You already know. Late nights with Santana. Late nights with Santana. You already know.
Late nights with Santana.
Late nights with Santana. You already know. Late nights with Santana.